Okay, because then that way I can give it to him as well. Breakout room, reactions, no. Chat, no. Let me see. Let me ask Ashley real quick. I really hope she answers it for me. Participants. One participant can share at a time. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Good morning, exclamation mark. How on Zoom can I have both of us talking on the screen at the same time so you can see both of us at the same time? Question mark. Come on, Blanch. I forgot that I had set it for 10:30. Can you hear me? Hello. Oh, it said your audio. I'm sorry, I forgot I had set it for 10:30, you know, for at the actual 30, and it wouldn't let you come in or whatever. Because I'm looking, I'm like, where's he at? So that was that. Okay. Okay, but your video's not on. I can't see you.
Okay, let me see. I don't know why it's not on. Let me, oh, you said start video. Okay.
There we go.
You see my face?
No, I can see it like your chest. So scoot up a little bit. Just a little bit more.
Yeah, hold on. Let me move this thing back.
And I gotta try to figure out how we can do both people at the same time. So share screen. I don't think it's share screen. Participants, invite security. Okay, I do not know how. Oh, wait, maybe it's on view, speaker, gallery. Oh, perfect.
Got it.
Yeah, figure it out. You have to do gallery. Okay, good. Now, I'm gonna get rid of this. Close that. So we don't have that.
So Megan, where'd you get your that little thing in the background?
I got it from. Hold on. I'll email it to you. I'll text it to you, email it to you. And it wasn't expensive at all. It came out of California. It's about $182 or something like that.
Okay.
Let me write that down so I don't forget. And you can contact them on, they have an Instagram page. And they have bigger ones. They have, you know, any color you want. You can put your picture in the middle of it, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Yeah, because I was tired of trying to figure this whole thing out. So that's that. Okay. So we are screen to screen. I am recording this in the cloud instead of on my computer because I think that it's easier to get it to you. Like I can just send you the link.
I got you.
And then we could do it that way. So I really think that that's our best, our best bet, to do it that way. So I didn't do any like real major research on these things that I want to discuss, because I kind of just wanted us to kind of freebase it a little bit and
Okay.
pause it or whatever. We can do that because it's not live. So I like to do live, but screw it. We can just do this one, and then we can do some more live stuff later.
All right.
Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. So, Blanchard, I have heard so much about you. I have been watching you, and it has just been a privilege to see someone else. There are many people, but to see someone else who is also a truth teller, who is, just breaking it down and telling people what it really is. It's so funny because for me, I've been telling the truth all my life. So I don't really know any other way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Of course, back then it wasn't being considered telling the truth. It was being rude,
Yeah.
or tactless, or all these other adjectives. But now truth is really, really, really important, and people are starting to come to realize that you cannot keep bullshitting. So I found you on Instagram, but we talked over the phone, and you told me that you had watched some of my YouTube videos from, that's how you found me years and years and years ago. So it's an honor to have you here. We're going to do some talking, and no telling how long we'll be on here or whatever, but I'm just grateful, Blanche, for you to be here, really.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here too, man. It's amazing because, like, you following somebody and then you're on the phone with them, like years later, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like that's how God works, though, I never would have thought in a million years I'd be talking to you on the phone or being, doing a Zoom call with you at all. So, it's crazy.
That's just incredible, and it goes to show you that you must continue. You cannot give up with your purpose. You cannot give up with whatever it is that you're doing. You must continue, because you don't know how the paths are going to cross. You just don't know. So it would behoove you to stay strong, stay focused, stay on that track, because like you said, you had no idea that we would be on the phone, much less on a Zoom, much less doing a whatever this is, a podcast, whatever it is going to turn into. So it's just really, really amazing. So tell me a little bit about your story. You kind of know about mine, but tell me a little bit about your story and how you even got into your thought, or your
Well,
thought
I mean,
process.
basically, I got on social media like everybody else. And then, what's crazy? I remember when IG first added videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a girl that I know, a lot of folks were against the videos in the beginning. I don't know if you remember that, but folks were like, don't do videos, So I remember one girl, I remember her saying, if you do a video, I'm a delete you or unfollow you or something crazy, right?
Wow.
And I don't know what it was about her saying that, but it just made me want to start doing videos. I don't know, the way she
don't
said
threaten me. Do not threaten me.
And honestly, that's what got me started with videos, honestly. Like when she said it, I was just like, I've been posting videos ever since. But a lot of my stuff in the beginning is really like comedy type of stuff, relationship stuff, like being funny. Because I'm really a, jokester type person, kind of lighthearted. But these past couple of years, things have gotten kind of serious. So that's what really turned my content up these last 4 years. And I attribute that to, I would say, Trump being president, because it seems like him being in office kind of opened up Pandora's box for just every conspiracy, everything racist, everything crooked, everything behind the scenes, it just seemed like the floodgates opened up for information, and it's kind of, you know, that's where it all started for me as far as my videos, you know, going to a different level. You know, I got shadow banned a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, it was a young man that got killed in New York. They were chasing him like in the store. It was mistaken identity. The girl did a sex video with a guy, and she told the guys he was somebody else, her brothers in his gang, that it was somebody else. And so they went after the guy that was her, like the nice kid in the neighborhood everybody liked. She just said,
oh, was that when they got him with the machete?
yes.
Oh no, I didn't know that she lied.
Yeah, she lied on him.
Oh, Blanch, please, Jesus.
Yeah.
I can't
So
even.
she was in a sex tape with the other guy, and it's sad because they basically killed the boy, but I was upset about that only because he's running to all these adults and none of them are helping him. And so I did a video and it went viral, like, you know, 1.5 million, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I did a few other videos that went viral. The next thing I know, my videos went from 1.5 million and 500,000 to 3 views.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
10 views. You know, I was like, what the heck going on? So anyway, so yeah, so that's what got me started, Megan. That was the start.
Yeah, it's crazy. The shadow banning is really crazy because I've been viral so many times. I mean, like I've literally from 2011 till now, I've gotten I mean, I can't even count how many millions and millions of views, but they'll let me post some funny shit, you know, videos about the dogs or something like that, something funny. But as soon as I get serious, they snatch it, like they'll let it go and then they snatch it real quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, here she goes talking sense again. Here she goes making sense again. We can't have that shit. We can't have that. So
you know what's crazy? It's funny because I would go on other people's pages when somebody said, I think I saw your video. I would look on their page and the video has like 300,000 views. But on my page, that same video got about 100 views. I'm like, it don't even make sense.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then, so one of my recent videos that went viral was the one where I was asking Black people, what do you want? I said, well, what do you want? You got Ice Cube trying to fight. You got this, you got that. What do you want? On Tamika Hamilton's Twitter, it went over 1 million views on her Twitter. It was even reposted by, it was retweeted and reposted by somebody, I think it was Trump's campaign manager or something. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was on Newsmax. It was on Newsmax. All that. And on my page, it got like maybe 70,000 views, something like that. Something crazy. And every time I look on Instagram, my followers are going down. I'm like, how is this possible? How is this even possible? It doesn't even make sense in the numbers. But you have to be careful combining your purpose with this kind of convoluted reality.
Yeah.
You have to really be careful, because then your purpose will start getting jacked up. You'll start looking at a response when you don't need a response for purpose. You really don't. Your purpose is to just do. Your purpose is to do.
Yeah.
And the rest will come. It's inevitable. It has to come. Just like, for example, what you were saying in the beginning about how you never thought that we would be on this talking on the phone, so forth and so on. But you don't have to worry about, you didn't get to where you are as far as like talking to me is concerned by going viral. You talk to me because you just make sense and because you're on your purpose. And so I gravitate, they say, law of attraction says like attracts like. I gravitate to someone who is on their purpose, on their mission. And so many people do. Because that's just law of attraction. That's just how it works.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So just we just got to keep on going. So I want to talk to you about something that's very, very interesting. I don't even know how we can talk about this without getting into without getting into Moors and Moorship, but I
Yeah,
don't want to go that far
yeah,
because people, I don't want to limit people's understanding. I just want to try to help. And I feel that if we go into Moors, it will disconnect. I think that people
yeah,
will not get it because
yeah,
that is advanced. That's exceptionally advanced.
yeah.
That people, I don't think that they're ready for it. I think that
No,
if you were to tell the wrong people about Moors, we would have more of a problem. And so
right.
we don't want to, so I want to know, uh, I want us to talk about what is Black.
And you know what's funny you say that is, so I kind of stay away from like, more stuff and that kind of stuff because I don't have the knowledge to even speak on it really. I have some friends that are Moors, but I like to discuss, the identity of Blackness,
Mhm.
because to me, that is the number one thing that has us in bondage is being Black. And because the problem is when you're Black, you already have the script, you already have the box, you already have everything already prepared for you. So when you come out the womb and you say you're Black, it's already context given to you. You don't have a choice. So to me, Black is a system of control. It's nothing different than the Matrix. It's just when white people say you're Black, they've already formed in their mind what you are. So they're already saying, okay, if you think about it, it's just simple, right? If you're Black, you're gonna more likely be Democratic. You're gonna more likely live around Black people. You're gonna more likely like hip hop culture. You go more like it's just it's a script.
It's a
It's a
script.
script and a narrative, and if you deviate from it, more than likely they're gonna say you a traitor to your race.
Correct.
So and it's just, yeah, to me, Black in itself dehumanizes you because it makes you a thing. Like you're a Black woman versus just being a woman. Once I put Black in front of it, it already has the connotation. Just like and I know, HBCU, Black college, is not the same as regular college.
Right. Right.
Black neighborhood is not the same as white neighborhood.
Right. Or just neighborhood. Or just
Or just
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Exactly, just
Yeah.
neighborhood. Yeah, I did it
Yeah.
myself right there.
Yeah. You just did it. Yeah, you just
I
did it.
just did it. See?
Yeah. And I had to correct someone on IG. He had made a comment and said something about you are a Black queen and you shouldn't be talking about this and the other. And I said, I am not your Black queen. I am the I am. That's the first thing. And second of all, if I am a queen, I'm just a queen. I'm not your
Yes,
Black queen. You
yes,
you try to box me in while giving me a compliment. No, 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 no. You keep that compliment because you telling me that I'm a Black queen makes it as if I'm not a queen if I was something else. It don't
yes,
matter what color I decide to use in this particular realm. I would still be the I am. It just so
yes.
happens that the I am kind of configured and decided that this was the shell that it wanted to take at this time. And so I'm okay with that. I appreciate that. I enjoy it because I believe that some of these attributes are much better in the shell that I'm in. I can't say
Okay.
that's not true. I would prefer to be African American or melanated or Black or whatever word you want to use. We can't use Black because we about to just wear that. We about to wear that word out. But I would prefer to be African American than anything else because there's so much that comes with it.
Yeah.
Black don't crack. You don't age as quickly. You have better muscle mass. You have better recovery. The way that I talk, my mannerisms, the way that I can respond to rhythm and vibration and frequency, it's much deeper. It's much more rich. It's richer. So trust me, I don't want to be anything else. However, if I was something else, I would still be the I am and I would still be a queen. And so I had to let him know. And then I don't think he responded after that, poor thing. But
Right.
I had to let him know, no, don't. I'm not your black queen. Don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
try to force me into something. Like you just said, I'm black, therefore you have to be a Democrat. No, I don't. No, I do not. Don't force me into something just because that is the stereotype that you have conditioned yourself to be in. That's not me. So I love words, Blanche. You know how much I love words. So there's a difference between nationality and ethnicity.
Yes.
Nationality is the relationship between a person and the political state to which he belongs or is affiliated.
Yeah.
Ethnicity, however, is the identification of a person with a particular race,
Yeah.
culture, or religious group. And that's huge. I think that, I know that 99% of Black people don't know that they don't have a nationality, that they
No, we
have an
don't.
ethnicity. I'm telling you, they don't know.
No,
They have
no,
no
no.
idea.
And you know what's crazy? We don't know. You know how much we don't know? Because first we got called Negro and we didn't like it anymore.
Right.
And then we got called Black and we accepted it. But then before, Black was offensive. And then you was color. And then color was offensive. And then I'm like, all these are letting you know that you don't have a nationality. They're just giving you a name change. Like they're just telling you that basically they're giving you an identity. They're giving you an ethnicity. You're not who you are. You're who they say you are. And so the problem is with us, we don't understand it. We don't have a flag. Like there's no flag for Black America. We can't think about it. If we went to the UN right now, and this is what King and Malcolm X were going to run into, they were going to run into trying to get reparations for what you call Black people was going to be difficult because the UN is going to say, well, what country do you represent? Because you can't represent the United States because they already have a flag and nationality. So who are you representing?
Right.
So there's nothing to tie us to the land. And to me, that was a trick in the first place to keep us disassociated from the land. And so they said, you're from Africa. Think about it. I went to Africa. And they told me, you're not African.
That's correct.
I went there. I said, "You, my brother, sister." Is like, listen, you're not African. They told me straight up. I went to several countries. They all told me the same thing.
Face. They told you to your Black face. You ain't African.
You ain't African. I said, wait a minute. It was like, nah, ain't no wait a minute. They said They said you either American or European, but you ain't African. So they bust my bubble.
And I try to tell people all the time because I've worked with a lot of Nigerians. I work with a lot of Nigerians, and I tell people all the time, they're not rooting for you. They don't think you think, oh, we brothers and sisters. Oh, no, you're not.
No.
Oh, and this is not anything against African people. I'm just trying to let people know, just like you can't go to Russia and then you be a Russian. You can't go to China and be Chinese. You can't go to China and say, oh, well, China used to be a part of Africa. Thus, you're African. Thus, I'm also African American. Thus, I'm Chinese by provocation. No. No, sweetheart. No. They trick your ass into thinking that so that you can wear more kente cloth and buy all this kind of stuff and then get involved in a lot of scams. And that's the truth. A lot of it is real. There is Yoruba, there is African religion, the African diaspora and all this other stuff. I'm not saying in any way that we should not be connected to our ancestors. I'm not saying that. Of course, I would never say that. But a lot of it is they're scamming you.
Yeah.
They're just scamming you, telling you that if you go through all of these different rites of passage and you go through all of this stuff, that you're somehow now African. No, you are not. No, you are not. Go ahead, Blanche.
So basically, like, I listened to this one pastor, and he was talking about how he found our DNA is different. Like, our DNA is different than African DNA. he was like, so even in the slave trade, the numbers they said were exaggerated. It wasn't that many African slaves that actually came to North America. Most slaves went to South America and the Caribbean, but even still, we were still already over here. And so the Native Americans we even see today aren't really the ones from back in the day, because there was so many white people that bought their tribal memberships. It's so much misinformation out there to where we don't know where we're from. So they tell us Africa. And it's funny to me that they give you a DNA test, and the DNA test says, "Oh, you from Africa? Okay, well, what tribe? What country? What are you from Africa? You from one of these countries? Oh, conveniently on the west coast, on the western coast of Africa." But if we go by the numbers, though, Megan, the numbers don't even add up.
No,
they don't even have enough slave ships on record to even match what they're saying even came to North America. Like, it just, the numbers don't add up. And if you're thinking about the trip, none of this stuff really adds up if we think about it. If we think about it hard and long, the stuff don't add up, because it was too many of us during those later in the 1700s and 1600s to just have been brought over here, because you got to survive the trip, And so,
yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry, Blanche. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I agree with you that most of the stuff is lies. I even venture to say, Megan, for what I'm gathering, is that I don't even believe we was over in Africa that we was actually connected with the Africans, because if you think about it, they said the oldest living humanoid was found in Africa, which is Lucy, right?
Yes.
But that technically is not a human; it's a humanoid. It ain't really a human being. So the oldest living human being was found in Israel. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that, because you got to think back in the Bible when they were talking about, they used to flee the Middle East and go to Africa to hide. So based on science, we see that humanoid oldest was in Africa, but actual oldest living human being was in Israel. And so they said they found that we were in Israel 50,000 years before they thought civilization was even there. So that means before they even thought anything was there, we was already over there with a civilization. And so the oldest human beings could possibly be from the Middle East and not Africa per se, but actually it's all the same thing, because it's just everything was connected.
Well, what you're saying is very, very true. And it takes us into more conversation, which I said
I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to go to I didn't want to listen.
But just briefly, I agree with you 110%. And if people would just do some basic research, they would find out that there were already people here, obviously, when Columbus got here. So we know that. We already know that. We don't have to keep going over that. We know, everybody agrees with that. Okay, even Columbus people know that people were already here. Yeah. But what they keep trying to tell you is that it was just the Indians. And the reason why they're just telling you that it was Indians or Native Americans or whatever word you want to use that were here is because they've pretty much killed all of them off. So they don't have enough in the numbers to really make a difference. But they do have a small enough number, a small enough minority to be paid off.
Yes.
So they have, let's say they got 10,000 of them. Oh, okay, well, we can give you, $1,000 a month, give you a couple, 2-3 casinos, and then we're done with you, right? Yeah. It's a small amount.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that Moors are in fact a combination of Arabs and Arabanized Iberians.
Okay.
And not only that, the Moors that were the people that were already here in America were a light-skinned, almost like a mulatto looking person. They were like light-skinned Black people, like I refuse to say like me, because I'm trying to get a tan, and when I get my tan, I'm not gonna be. But anyway, they were not the very, very, very dark skin. Why? Because you didn't need to be exceptionally dark skinned, because you were not in that type of environment with the sun beating on you, so forth and so on, so you didn't have to be that dark. Those light-skinned people, they didn't have that wavy kind of mixed hair, but they were light. They were lighter than the Africans. Those were the people that were already here, who also owned slaves when the trade started coming through. They owned slaves, but what they had to do, they had to kill almost every single, they had to make a very distinguished difference between mixed children, meaning from the slaves, a slave and a master had sex, and then they had a mixed child, and regular high yellow or fair-skinned Black person that was already here. Because the fair-skinned Black people that were already here knew the truth. So there was a distinct and intended killing of and separation from these light-skinned people and dark-skinned slaves from Africa, because they had to get rid of this knowledge. Because if you knew, let's say for example, you knew that your great grandparents were not slaves. Well, that changes everything. Just that right there. Just that one part right there. Your ancestors were not slaves. They were already here. They already owned land. They owned, let's say they owned 100 acres of land. They owned their own, they built their own houses. They had whatever was going on at that time agriculturally. Well, they had it. They were already here. Boom. Then, in order to get half of their land, they were given a family of slaves. Let's just say they say, okay, well, we'll give you $50 per acre. We want 50 acres. We'll give you $50 per acre, and then we'll give you a family of workers that will help you toil. They weren't called slaves back then. It was just workers.
Indentured service or something.
Toil this other 50 acres of land that you have. And your great-great-great-grandfather was like, well, hell yeah, I need some people to come work, come work on this shit, and then, we can just, I'll build you a little house or whatever. You can build your own house out there on the acres or whatever. You toil this land. Okay. Then, so you got 50 acres of land. And then let's say your great-great-grandfather, that son, he got some more land, and now you went back and you have the 100 acres, and da-da-da-da. Well, by the time you're born, not only do you already have acres and acres, probably 500-600 acres of land in your family, because it's just been transferred down. But you have no connection of any kind to slavery at all. None, zero. You don't know anything about it. You're like, well, we had workers, like we had people, it's just like when you talk to somebody rich, they don't say that we had slaves. They say we had a nanny. We had a maid. We had a housekeeper. We had a butler. We had people to come and wash our cars. We didn't have slaves. We had people with whom we paid a discounted rate to come and do work that we did not want to do. But Black people have this whole idea that, and like you said, the numbers don't add up. You have this whole idea that everybody that touched this ground that was melanated was a slave. And that is, in fact, 100% not true.
And you know what's crazy? So Columbus, basically, like Columbus, he had like diaries, and he used to write poetry and stuff. And so basically, I read something where Columbus was looking for the fountain of youth, and he was looking for the holy city. And so basically, he was describing the people when he went to the islands, and he was like, copper skin, bronze, copper, gold. Like these were the terms they were using. They weren't actually using. They didn't say like dark skin. They just like copper, bronze, gold. Call them some people, whatever. Just those kind of tones of the people he saw. So I looked up. I was like, well, holy city. So I looked up holy city, and you know what the holy city is in the world? Charleston, South Carolina.
I was going to say something about them Carolina people. Them Carolina people know their history. I'm telling you. Okay, go ahead.
So then he said he wanted to go to find the Fountain of Youth. The Fountain of Youth technically is in Florida. So I remember one time we went to the La Brea Tar Pits, you know, the museum. You probably been there.
Of course, over there
Yeah,
off
you
of,
been.
not Fairfax, off of Olympic. Wilshire.
Yeah,
I think it's Wilshire.
So when you go inside and go to the bottom, they show you the timeline of California, but they show you the visual timeline of the people and what they were doing. So they had a family that looked like they were like maybe Native American or Mexican, right? You had the mother, the children, the dad, but the grandmother looked like my grandmother. And then there was another picture, and it said these were ancient California warriors. So they had a guy that looked like Mexican, and then the guy next to him throwing the same spear looked like me. I'm talking about with a short little afro. And I said, okay, so they're letting you know that, because even Los Angeles was founded by what you call Black people from Mexico in Spanish. So the first mayor and governor of first mayor of LA was Black. So it's just like, so again, the history that we have has been so watered down and taken away, because to me, they don't want to give us the land. And so the greatest pump fake is you from Africa. So that totally separates you from even being here at all. Like, you don't have no claims to America at all. Africa. Matter of fact, they reinforced it with African American because Black wasn't good enough. They said, you know what? You're African American now, which is ridiculous because it don't even make sense. And none of this stuff makes sense. You think about it.
Yeah.
African American, 5 slave ships on record. No, it just don't make. And then you talk to older Black people, they don't even remember slavery. Like, you talk to a lot of Black people, they don't even remember that their great grandma was a slave. Like, I don't remember, you know what I mean? So I would love to trace back my history, because I know for a fact that my great grandmothers on both sides is what you call Native American, on both sides of my family.
Same,
you know, and so I don't know. It's just, to me, it was a trick to get us away from the land, because if we have claims to the land, that changes everything. If we're from here, that changes literally politics. It changes the landscape of everything in America, because now we're old. Now you got to pay up.
Yeah. And that's what, and I did a video on IG close to the election, and I was trying to really touch the heart of so-called Black people. And I kept telling them, this is your country. This is your country. Don't get involved in that bullshit about, you know, because here's the thing. The African American terminology literally takes you even further away. I'd rather be called colored, to be honest, because African American literally takes you on the other side of the world. They're basically telling you through that terminology where you belong or where your land is or whatever is on the other side of the world. So go back over there and get your land. And like you said, you went over there and they told you, oh, no. Oh, no, my brother.
No.
It ain't here, homeboy. You take your ass back over there to America and get what you can, but we don't have anything for you.
Yeah.
And
I had a girl. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go.
I had a girl tell me in Africa, she said, I can look in your eyes and tell you that you're not African. I'm telling you, I said, goodness. She said, I looked in your eyes. I said, God, listen, they brutally honest. But go ahead.
I can look you in your pupils
and see
and tell you. No, but they actually have a way to look at the way your eye is shaped, the way your nose is shaped, the way your mouth is, the way that you enunciate certain words. They can tell you what tribe you're from.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Straight up. I've had Africans look at me and go, "Oh yeah, if you were African, you'd be a part of the whatever."
Yeah.
Or the whatever. And I'm like, how you know what tribe I be? They're like, oh yeah, we can tell by your nose. We can tell by the color of your skin. We can tell by your eyes. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? This is crazy. So
Yeah.
because it's been ingrained and it's real, like the genealogy is real.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and so it's not just like, oh well, yeah, I'm from Africa. Oh, it's much deeper than that. It's much deeper than that. And so I remember watching, and I cannot find this video, and it has been bothering me for at least 2 or 3 years. There was a video of a man who was about my color and skin color, and he was from either North Carolina or South Carolina. I can't remember. He was an older man, and he was speaking to a group of people, and what he said the reason why he was talking to the people. He said, and they were all Black. He said the reason why y'all you are all a mess and you're so angry and all of this stuff. He said because you don't know anything about where you come from.
Yeah.
He said every single person in my family knows exactly who their great grandmother, great grandmother, the grandfather. They know all the grandfather. He said all of my children and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren, they know everything.
Yeah.
They know it all the way down. He said, and we were never slaves. He said we owned the same land and we owned hundreds and hundreds of acres in wherever they're from, South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever. He said we own property, we own land. He said, and we don't associate ourselves with any type of slave mentality because we've never been slaves.
Yeah.
He said, we were never slaves. I cannot find this video, but he also breaks down, there was there was a theology that was, or ideology is probably a better word, that was followed by Jim Crow. He followed a certain guy.
Okay, I got you.
Who was it? I can't remember who it was, but he followed a certain guy, and this guy that he followed is the one that this older Black man was talking about. And he said the absolute objective was to disassociate these colored people from their history. That's all they had to do. That was the only thing that they needed to do. Disassociate your knowledge of where you really are from. Because what happens is, if you don't have any roots, I mean, all you got to do is look at nature. If you don't have any roots, you can't grow. You're a mess. You die.
Yeah.
You die off. Period.
Yeah.
So even if your roots were slavery, but you still need to have specific understanding of that. It cannot just be, oh well, yeah, we were slaves and they, cut the man's penises off and shoved it in his mouth and they raped our women and all this gory, horrible shit. You have to have more of an understanding, a well-rounded understanding, because then you can have some actual roots. Yeah. If slavery was not your lineage, the conversation completely changes. It just 100% completely changes. I know for a fact that it's not possible for my heritage to be in slavery, because I know at least where my father's side, I know where my mother and my father came from on my father's side.
Yeah.
And I know where my grandmother's grandmother came from. And there's no way.
Yeah.
No, it's no way. There was no slavery. Now, my grandmother's father, my great-grandfather, he may have some slave history, maybe.
Yeah.
But the women, absolutely not. And on my father's side, no way.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And we just owned way too much land.
Yeah.
We owned too much land in Texas. Land that we still own to this day.
Yeah.
That was passed down. So it's not possible. And it wasn't a gift. It wasn't like a gift from the state or some shit like that. And the color, the skin color of my grandparents on my father's side is just no way. It's not possible. And I really think that plus my last name is McGlover, which is an Irish name. And so my cousin told me that our great were from Ireland. They actually came in from Ireland, and then somebody ended up having sex with one of the Moors that was already here, another light person. And then they, ended up having children. But there was no slavery on my father's side. And that's why my father's side is the way that they are. That you will not see them marching for any reason. Because there's no connection. There's like, this is dumb. Why would we do that? Let's just go up to the Capitol or whatever and discuss what we want and why we want it. and then at the end of that, on my mother's side, there's a little more passion, but it's not this whole idea of browbeaten victimization. We don't live like that. We never have. We don't have, and I really do believe, and I've said it, I've been saying it for years, that there are some very strong distinctions in the Black community. There are some huge differences between African Americans. It's huge. It's huge. And I thought it was just me, but with all of this that has happened with Trump and so forth and so on, we're starting to understand, we are very different indeed.
Oh no, listen, my father used to tell me that, and I'm gonna tell you what two things. So my father used to tell me that he's from Oklahoma, and so his people are all what you consider Native Americans.
Yeah.
Since he was darker, they used to call him the nigger. Wow. Because he was the darker one. And it's funny because they all the same family, but because he was the darker one out of them, he said, they all got, that wavy hair, how they all look. But that's my dad's side of the family though. Like my great grandmother looked like that on his side, his grandmother, and on my grandfather. I remember one day he had bought this book, and it said Black Indians on it, and he said, we Indians. Now you a kid. You think about Indians on TV with the feathers and the the cow, all that. So I'm looking at my grandfather like, Indians. I was like, we ain't Indians. I said, we Black. He was like, we Indians, boy. He's like, read the book. So he gave me the book. I didn't read the book, but I remember. I know, we weren't supposed to read back then, but I had to
read it now, boy.
Yeah, listen. That same book though is a famous book. Because it's the red cover with a guy standing next to it, like a Native American, like a Black cowboy that said next to Native American, and it said Black Indian on the front. That's actually a popular book. And that book has been around me since I was a little child. My grandfather saying that we Indians. But again, think about this though. My grandfather never mentioned nothing about slavery. My grandfather never mentioned nothing about, it was never even discussed. Only thing talked about lineage was being Black Indians. He never mentioned nothing about no slavery at all. On my father's side, he never mentioned nothing about, he said we was Indians too. He said the same thing. Our family is Indians. And so, like you, I know on both sides of my family, there are no kind of talks about slavery. We even have a family book on my grandfather's side, and that thing goes back to the 1700s, and it ain't no slavery. It ain't no slavery in there. It is just
nowhere in there.
They all own land and businesses. Like, it's no slavery in the book. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that changes. And I really believe, we talk about RNA and so forth and so on, and how the cell memory goes from generation to generation, and it's transferred down through the sperm. And so I really honestly believe that is really the distinction. I think that those of us who did not suffer in our lineage some of those very, very horrific experiences.
Yeah.
I believe that we just don't have the same affinity to that rationale. We just don't have it because it doesn't. Now, do I have compassion for it? Of course, but I don't have passion. I have compassion, but I'm not passionate about constantly talking about slavery, because it's like foreign to me. It's like, it's like it doesn't, I don't need to, and so I'm not trying to I'm not trying to separate myself from the African American or Black community as much as I am just identifying myself as being separate.
Yeah.
because there really is, in my personal studies and in my belief, that there are some very extreme differences. Now, even with that being said, like, for example, the numbers 110% do not show that Black people are being killed by white police officers at some alarming rate. Those are not the numbers. It's also not the numbers that Black people were being lynched and burned and raped and killed and all this other stuff. Because you cannot have a system working in place when you kill everybody. You can't have it. You just can't have it.
It don't make financial sense.
Doesn't make financial sense. So what has happened is, of course, symbolism, which we talked about till our hair turns gray. Symbolism is used, and that's what you do. I mean, if you're a pimp, right? You're a pimp, and let's say you got 10 hoes in the house. You only have to beat one hoe. You don't have to beat all 10. You just beat one.
Yeah.
You just beat one, and then you slap her around or whatever, and then you make her go in the room with all the other hoes, and then you tell her, to tell them that they better act right. That's all you have to do. You don't have to kill everybody. There was an experiment done on monkeys. Did you post this? Who posted this experiment?
I don't know, but I think I saw the experiment though.
It may have been Boyce that posted it, but it said that they put 3 monkeys in the cage, and they put some food, they put some bananas out or something like that. And so when they had the 3 monkeys in the cage, they whenever they tried to reach for the bananas, they sprayed them with water hose, like a fire hydrant. They sprayed them real
okay.
bad, and then they backed up. So, and then they stopped going to the to the bananas. Then they dropped another monkey into the cage who didn't know anything about any of this. He too went to the bananas and was like, "Oh God, it's free bananas. Let me go get a banana." As soon as he got close to the bananas, they sprayed him with water hose. They not only sprayed him, they sprayed all the other monkeys that were in there. So it's 3 monkeys and now a 4th one. They sprayed them all with a hose. They dropped a 5th monkey in there. And when they dropped him in there, the monkey said, "Oh, it's a free bananas." So he walked over towards the bananas. The monkeys, the other 4, attacked him and beat his ass. They beat him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay away from the bananas, nigga. They about to spray us. Move your ass back. So he's like, "Yo, what's going on? Why y'all hitting me?" Well, in monkey language, they told him, "Don't touch the bananas because they finna spray us back up." So now there's 5 monkeys in there. 4 that have been wet by the hose and 1 that has been beat.
Yeah.
They drop another monkey in there. Now they got 6 monkeys in there. The 6th monkey comes down into the cage and is like, "Oh, free bananas." He starts going towards the bananas. Now all 5, the 4 wet ones and the 1 that got beats the shit out of the 6th one.
Yeah.
They dropped the 7th one, 8th one. So after the 4th monkey, they didn't have to use a water hose ever again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the other monkeys are beating the shit out of the new monkeys that come in that want to get the bananas, but they're so afraid of the water hose, and they're afraid of something that actually hasn't happened to them personally. Because remember, after the 4th monkey, the 5th monkey never got the water hose.
Yeah.
He's only been beaten by the other monkeys. The 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th. So now we are in a system that has been developed and created to make sure that the system doesn't have to do anything again.
No.
I had to bring out the water hose again. All we have to do is depend on the fact that black people gonna beat the shit out of another black person to say, oh, listen, this has happened, but it's only happened to 4 of you. Now there's 4,000 of you or 4 million of you, and you are beating each other for the 4 people. You've got slavery that happened, but you are still in slave mentality because you are beating the shit out of we're generations and generations and generations from that.
We are.
We're generations and generations from that. You don't see, and I know people don't like for me to bring up Jews, but I don't give a shit. You do not see Jews using the Holocaust as a bad thing. They use the Holocaust as an empowerment. It's an empowerment.
Listen, that Holocaust is the worst event that happened in the universe. Let them tell it. That is so when they speak about that Holocaust, that thing is spoken with pride. We made it through. You can't say nothing to us. You can't, you can't say nothing to them. As soon as you say, well, how'd you make it? Listen, we survived the Holocaust. First thing they're gonna say, no excuse for you. We went through the worst thing that ever happened in history and we made it. So yeah, the problem with us is we don't have an identity, and so they gave us one. And so all of our identity is rooted in trauma. Think about it. Soul food, the leftovers, we made it a delicacy. I told someone, I said, there is nothing good that Black people do in mass numbers. Nothing. I said, there is nothing that we do collectively that is good. You can look at most of us that vote Democratic, not good. Most of us don't vote. Most of us eat poorly. Most of us are not educated. Most of us are impoverished. Like there's nothing we do in mass numbers that's good, but it is by design. Because like you said, we on autopilot. All they do is tell you that, and you think about it from a country standpoint, America compared to everybody else didn't have slavery that long. Because you got to think from.
They still got slavery right now in some countries.
Thank you.
It's 2021.
So for compared to these other countries, we didn't have slavery that long.
That's right.
But the problem is, it's so much dramatization involved. I said, think about it, man. I said, when they make a Holocaust movie, I said, they make you almost feel like sad and then they're heroes.
Right.
I said, when we have a slave movie, it's victimization. It's we down. It's almost like we still enslaved today. It's like athletes talking about, it's like we slaves. I remember LeBron James said, it's that plantation mentality. I was like, how is it a plantation mentality and y'all making hundreds of millions of dollars? I said, that's ridiculous. That don't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
But so I said, we got our whole identity entrenched in some traumatic stuff that most of us didn't even experience. We hold on to something that we didn't even experience. And then if I say this, I sound like, oh, you a sellout. I say, no, I'm not saying that. I'm telling y'all that they selling y'all a dream. They telling that you slave and you Black, so that when you go outside every day, you're not gonna try. You're gonna look at, think about it, Megan, who we actually fighting against when it comes to racism? We fighting against the average white person we see. The average white person minding their business. We looking and thinking that these people is doing something to us. And I said, the average white person is not oppressing you.
They're not even thinking about you. They're not even thinking nothing about you, huh? They ain't thought nothing about you and your mama. You Blanchard, do not get me started. Out here in Chicago, over on the south side of Chicago, those persons, those Black people, do not even see white people. The Black people work at the grocery stores. Black people work at the Black people are the electricians, the whatever, they work for the cable company. Black people do not are their managers. Black people, they don't even see white people. They have no interaction with white people at all. If they do, it's in a service capacity.
Yes.
It's like, it's like, oh, okay, well, they didn't send Tyrone, they sent David to come and check your phone line or to check your cable or whatever. But you don't have any direct racist, oppressive interaction with white people on the south side of Chicago. That's a fact. That's a fact. You don't. You do not. There's no white people around you.
Yeah.
They're nowhere there. So how can you have this much anger for white racism and white supremacy when you do not experience it? It's just like the monkeys. What you have is a memory that has been transferred down, by generations and generations through your cell makeup that makes you hate them as if you were being lynched at that time.
Yeah.
But even the 4 monkeys, we don't know that if they had tried one more time to get the bananas, if they would have been able to get the bananas. We don't know, because all we know is they said, nah, fuck it. Every time we go for the bananas, they hit us with this fire hose. Nobody ever said, oh, well, let's go and get a rock or something and put a thing up against the fire hose. Let's try to beat the person down that got the fire hose. Let's try to, maybe there's some other bananas somewhere around. None of that happened. All they said was, we do not enjoy this water hose thing. It is really messing with us. And so we are going to beat the shit out of every other monkey that comes in here and tries to get these bananas. We're going to beat them down. And that's where this whole whitewashed, traitor, Uncle Tom, coon, all this shit comes in. Because when I want to get the bananas, you're going to call me a coon. And I'm telling you, what are you talking about? There's some bananas here. No. You got to beat the other person down. Like we beat them. We got to all beat. No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do any of that. I want to get the bananas by any means necessary. So how are we going to get the bananas? I'm not in here to not get the bananas. I'm in here to get the bananas. So how do we get the bananas? You see? And so, but again, I really do think that comes from the memories that have been transferred down, the traumatic memories that have been transferred down in the actual cell makeup and in the blood of people that have been terrified to make any type of moves.
And it's crazy you say that, because Chicago, to me, and I look at things from a big picture, there are the most Black people in America in one place live in Chicago, right? Chicago has the most Black people. And look how Black people live in Chicago. That is a reflection of Black America. I said, so whatever's going on in Chicago, that's a reflection of Black America, because that's where most of Black people live in one place, not region, but far as city. So you can see how Black folks live in Chicago in concentrated numbers. This is why I tell people, we could fix it all. We could fix the system. We could fix police brutality. We could do all of it. And guess what? We still got to deal with what we created called Black culture, because Black culture is destructive. Black culture is the worst thing we could have created, because it's all based in oppression, trauma, lack, violence. It's all based in everything deplorable, and we worship the culture. We actually, you know what I'm saying? We love the culture. I'll be asking, I say, listen, y'all want to convince me that white people are so racist towards Black people, but for what? Think about it. In order to be racist, it got to be some kind of competition, meaning I have to fear that you're going to take over, right?
Correct.
Okay. Black people don't own anything.
Nothing.
We don't produce anything. We don't control anything. We don't have any resources. We are literally no threat to anybody in the country, which is why when foreigners come over here, they can all capitalize off of us, which is why we're the number one consumer group. We're the ones spending the money, because we pose no threat. We are literally the reverse of a slave now. We're a spender. So instead of just working in the cotton fields, now we just spend the money. And so we're under this illusion that, think about it, if we come together, if we rise up, they're afraid we're going to unify. All that is done to make Black folks feel good at night when they go to bed. But in actuality, there's nobody afraid of us. There's nobody threatened by us. We pose no threat. We're not unified. We're not going to start a revolution. We are literally on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to social status. We're on the bottom. And I keep telling Black people, you all are caught up in the nostalgia of being Black, and it really doesn't even exist. Because at the end of the day, we don't even have enough interactions with white folks for it to be a problem. We don't interact enough. We don't on a national, we don't interact enough for it to be an issue with race. We don't, because the average white person ain't fooling with the average Black person. It's just how it's a fact. Like you said, you don't even see white people around you. So the media, you know what I asked Megan? I said, I'd asked about 100 Black folks. Have you ever seen a member of the KKK? Have you ever seen a neo-Nazi? Have you ever seen a white nationalist? I've had one person say yes, out of at least 100 people. And I've asked Black folks that was old, from the South, West Coast, everybody, and they all said, we have never actually seen a member of the KKK. We've never actually seen a neo-Nazi. We've never actually seen a white nationalist. I said, wait a minute. So they got y'all fighting a group that you've never actually even seen. Think about it. Isn't it convenient that they always show these groups when the cameras are out? We only see these groups when the news crew is there. Why don't we ever see these groups just walking down the street? No, we never see these groups anywhere, but let the media tell you they all over the world, they all over the country, they looking for you, they hunting us.
Well, now it's the Proud Boys. Now it's a new group, because now they want them to go in hiding too. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Now it's the Proud Boys. And then what cracks me up is they have Proud Boys who are married to Black women and have children. Then they say, oh, well, this is a witch. What kind of shit?
Megan, they got Proud Boys that are Black. They got Proud Boys that are Hispanic. They got Proud Boys that are Pacific Islander. They even got gay Proud Boys. So wow. I'm just like, wow. I asked people, I said, name me a white nationalist that's Black. Name me a KKK member that's Black. I said, name me a neo-Nazi that's Black. I said, so clearly the racist white groups don't have people of color in them. They just don't. I said, so you can't say, oh, they letting Black folks in and they still, like, the funny thing to me is, Megan, is that Black folks just keep moving the cheese. So if a white person is in the Proud Boys and their best friend is Black, the Black person is a sellout. Okay, if the Black person's in the Proud Boys, okay, he a sellout. Okay, if a Hispanic person in the Proud Boys, okay, they a sellout, or they brainwashed. Like, they just keep moving the cheese. What if it's not a racial group?
Right.
The guy, Bob Johnson.
How about that?
The guy, Bob Johnson, he's the writer for the white nationalists. He even wrote that the Proud Boys are not a racial group. He said they deal with civil issues. They don't deal with race. They're not racist. The white nationalist spokesperson writer said this. He wrote that they're not a racist. So I'm like, if he's saying they're not racist, why are you saying they're a racist group? When clearly, but guess what? It's media. And most of this Blackness that we have, think about it. In the movies, Megan, they used to have the Black actors come from the Black neighborhoods, acting Black, right? Mm-hmm. They would say, no, don't do it like this, walk like this, talk that jive talk. And they'd be like, well, right. Black folks don't actually walk like that. Well, just do it like, they created a Black image. They actually created a fake Black persona of, we used to do like, give all that stuff all the Black potential. All that was an exaggeration of Black culture. It wasn't really real. But we started imitating the movies like we imitate the rap and the music. So it's like art imitates life, where the art became life. So now you had a bunch of Black folks acting like what was in the films versus the films being based on something that wasn't real in the first place.
Yeah. What's that movie that Eddie Murphy just did? Dolomite. It's like Dolomite. Dolomite was a complete fabrication. Like, it was a complete fabrication. But the powers that be, the media, came in and said, oh no, we like that because it's just over the top foolishness.
Yes.
They were having sex and the ceiling's falling down and and all this other stuff. Like, come on, ain't nobody doing it. Way down in the jungle deep. One step on the signifier. Like, ain't none of this is happening. Nothing happened way down in the jungle deep where a lion stepped on a monkey. That never happened. you know, but it is something in psychology that we call stereotype threat. And stereotype threat is the it's a psychological threat that arises when someone has to deal and or be the negative stereotype that applies to a person's group. So if you are not Black enough, then you will over Blackitize yourself.
Got you.
So you can be Black because your stereotype is being threatened. So it's called stereotype threat.
Got you.
So for example, Asians are really good at math, but they're really good at math for a specific reason. It's not because they're Asian, it's because of the way that they deal with math.
Yeah.
They don't count the same way we count. And over there, they don't have breaks. They don't have summer breaks and all this other stuff. So they're better at things because they don't stop doing things. And so we already know that time and pressure is what makes you the best, time and pressure. So if you take away time, and which also means you take away pressure, well, then you will be behind in your manifestation and or production of the best of whatever you're trying to do. So in Asia, the reason why they are better educationally or musically or whatever is because time and pressure is never released. It's a constant.
Yeah.
Right? So anyways, so if an Asian child is in school and the Asian child is in school amongst a bunch of other nationalities or a bunch of other races, ethnicities, so nationalities and ethnicities, there is a pressure on the Asian child to be exceptionally smarter than everybody else. But that is actually a negative connotation because of the amount of pressure in which it puts on that child. Even though being smart is a good thing, it becomes a negative stereotype because it is expected. So what happens with Blacks, or the ethnicity of Blackness, I think I'm gonna start calling it that. The ethnicity of Blackness, the problem is that the stereotype threat is all negative.
Facts.
There's no positive.
Facts.
In order for you to have Blackness, you have to be sagging your pants, smoking weed, talking shit, jive talking, same thing, talking shit, several different wives, several different baby mamas, blah, 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 blah. In like you were saying, in mass production.
And rooted from slavery. So your starting point is slavery, then you go to all that stuff, but your foundation is slavery. You ain't got no real history. It's slave and then where you are today.
Yeah, it doesn't come from like for example, in China, so let's say you have a Chinese person who's here in the States. Their recollection of hard times is, well, my great-grandfather owned 12 acres of rice. Rice farm. Or
the rice fields. Yeah.
Rice field, thank you. Yeah. Rice fields. And he had to work 18 hours a day to make rice.
Yes.
So he struggled because he was never with his family. He couldn't sleep. He didn't have time to eat. Blah, 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 because he was always in the fields making rice. People don't understand it. Making rice is very difficult, which is why they make plastic nowadays, because making real rice is very, very challenging.
Yeah, I saw that process. It's crazy.
Yeah, the process is ridiculous. And so they now make rice out of plastic. But their struggle is my great-great-grandfather or my great-grandfather toiled the soil to make this on his own land, and was selling rice to make a profit to get the different things that he needed. And so, yes, they have a struggle. They come from hard times. They're very passionate about, I don't want to do that. I come from it. I don't want to relive that. I have this, I use this as inspiration. I use this as my passion, blah, blah, blah. But Blacks, Black ethnicity, Blackness doesn't have that. You were constantly being struggled. You were struggling and beaten and all of this other stuff for somebody else. It wasn't yours. You didn't get nothing from it. They paid you a penny a day. It's all negative. It starts off exceptionally negative. And like you said, it just sprouts out into more negativity. You may have 1 out of every 1,000 kids that go to an Ivy League school or that start their own business out here in Chicago. I'll just make this point and then we can, we can move on if you want. There have been over 120 armed carjackings in the month of January in Chicago. First of all, this is not New Jack City. Who in the hell is carjacking?
In 2021.
What? To do what? Ain't no chop chops. Where are you taking the cars? What are you doing? And then come to find out, it's 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds carjacking ladies, old ladies, all kind of people. They're going up to them in their cars, in their garages, while they're standing outside trying to warm their car up because it's snowing, it's a blizzard out here. You got to warm your car if you want to go to work. They're carjacking. This is not racism. This is black on black crime.
You can't say that, Megan. Listen.
Oh,
you can't.
This is my shit. I can say what I want.
You can't say black on black crime because when you say that, you saying that there's not any white on white crime. They don't want you to say black, so you can't. And again, I made this point that I always make. You are not allowed to hold black people accountable. I said that as soon as you hold black folks accountable, the first thing they're going to say is, but white people.
What?
I had 2 grown men, one from Chicago, one from down south. They both told me they were raised in 2-parent households. They said our parents raised us right, great upbringing. We were never struggling, no syrup sandwiches, none of that stuff. We grew up the right way. But I said, what happened? Oh, we still went to the streets. Now I said, hold on now. I said, your parents raised you right. You didn't want for anything, and you still went to the streets. And they said, yeah, because these white folks. I said, hold on. I said, hold on. I said,
Jesus.
Hold on. I said, your parents raised you right, gave you every opportunity to succeed in life, and your excuse is, but these white people? I said, no. I said, you can't make me accept that black people have to do crime because of some white folks did. I'm sorry. Because I grew up in the same environment, and there was plenty of kids that did not do it. There were plenty of kids that did do it. But guess what? My issue is it still involved a choice. So at the end of the day, I don't care if they put the drugs in the community. You ain't got to sell them or use them.
That's correct.
I don't care if they put the guns in the community. If they bring the guns in on the train, Megan, then leave the guns on the train.
Leave them on train.
So you can't tell me that white folks is making you do anything, because the average white person, I told somebody, I said, it's 10% of white people oppressing everybody. Not just black, it's 10% of white folks oppressing everybody because they control everything.
That's right.
I said, but there's no average white person walking around oppressing you. It's just not true. And so our culture is all negative. There is nothing positive about black culture. Even when we try to make it positive, it's always a tie back to slavery. Like there's nothing in it. Like, who would you be? Let me ask something, Megan. What would happen to black people if white folks disappeared tomorrow? We wake up tomorrow morning and there's no more white people. What would happen?
Nothing. Not a damn. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
It should get worse.
Thank you. Thank you.
Worse.
Thank you.
Worse. Guaranteed fact.
Thank
You ought to
you.
be grateful that the white people out here trying to help you not kill yourselves. They trying to help you. They trying to help you, Blanchard.
Megan, in 2020, Black homicide went up, police homicide went down. What are we talking about?
It went up 150%.
Black homicide went up during the pandemic,
150%.
and the police homicides went down. So that means in a year, when the police was killing less, we killed more.
Sense, Blanchard.
I said, we can fix everything, and we still would have to deal with what we created called Black culture. We still got to deal with it. I said, y'all telling me about pro-choice, and I said, we done had over 23 million abortions since 1973. I said, that's genocide.
That's genocide. It's self-genocide. Self-genocide. You're genociding yourself.
23 million?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And everybody keep telling me it's choice. I'm like, that ain't a choice though. That's just, we choose a genocide.
But see, the thing is, here's the thing about this whole choice thing. And I'm not in any way trying to take away. I mean, I got a weird thing with this abortion thing because I feel like sometimes people don't want to have children by a rapist or, so it's a slippery slope, and I have a hard time with that.
But hold on, Megan.
Black culture. Mm-hmm.
The studies show that the actual pregnancies that are like that are less than 1%. 99% of the abortions are by just, I don't want to be have a child. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like what you're saying.
You're 100% correct. I just had to say that because I don't want to be blanket on it because I feel like I do have a little twinge of difference in that.
Yeah.
But you are 100% correct when you say that the African American Black ethnic culture has made it so having sex with any and anything, any way you choose, you get pregnant, you just abort. Ain't a big thing. You take the day after pill, morning after pill, or whatever, or you go to the abortion clinic, and then they make it so easy because you got the abortion clinics right there at your house. They right down the street.
Walking distance.
A liquor store, a church, and a Planned Parenthood. That's what you got in the Black community. And so through the music, through the symbolism and everything, we are just told, oh, you just have sex for whatever. You have sex for money, you have sex for whatever you need to have sex for, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to be thinking about, do I want to have sex? Do I want to have a child with Blanchard? You're just trying to have sex. But you're not understanding that having sex with Blanchard could produce a child. So you have to figure out, is this something, do you want to have sex with Megan and it could possibly produce a child? Or are you just trying to have sex? You can't do it like that.
No.
But you got the pop and we could be going this, we could do this all day long, talking about how how this ethnicity has completely shattered any type of work that has been done by our great grandparents and our parents. It is just pissed all over it.
It's over.
All over every structure that has been set up. Just trashed it.
Oh yeah.
The Harlem Renaissance.
Oh my goodness.
Oklahoma, Wall Street, all that.
Oh, listen.
Our ancestors are rolling over in their grave looking at these.
We had so many. I remember talking to a guy. He was a freedom fighter. He was the youngest freedom fighter when he joined at the time. And he mentioned being on that bus where they try to lock him in the bus and throw them cocktails in there and burn them alive. Yeah. But anyway, he said, now think about this now. He was thinking like us. He joined the movement, and he kept asking, he was like, why are we trying to integrate? Like, because he said when he grew up, he said the only white person that he saw was the milkman. He said his doctor was black, his dentist was black, teachers were black, the mailman was black, his fireman was black. He said he never saw white people except the milkman. So he was like, he said, why are we trying to integrate? He said it didn't make any sense. He was like, we have our stuff already. So, but again, though, this is all about symbolism. This is all about manipulation, programming, brainwashing to get black folks to want to abandon everything that set us free. Everything that set us apart as far as independence economically. So now, from 1964, when that civil rights bill was passed, which wasn't even for us, and then we start, think about it, the decline in Black America is synonymous with voting Democratic. And everybody says, well, Republican. I said, the decline in Black America is synonymous with voting Democratic. It's not synonymous with voting Republican. It's synonymous with voting Democratic, because with Democrats comes a certain mindset, which means you're not going to value family, you're not going to value life, you're not going to value freedom of religion, you're not going to value things like Second Amendment, you're not going to value things like getting something from the ground up. You're gonna value social programs. You're gonna value socialism. You're not gonna value what got Black America to the point to where Democrats even wanted to even do this in the first place, because we have billions of dollars in our community. Right. You know what I'm saying? They wanted us for the Black talent, the Black dollar, and the Black workforce. So all this integration and stuff was all based on finance. It wasn't based on nothing moral or nothing like that. And so, but Megan, from that, just think about Black culture prior to that, though. Think about what Black culture was then and what it is now. Yeah. Like, we was married, we was in church, all that stuff was going on. That's right. It was community. It was, even if it was poverty, it was still community. Right. Now we fast forward. What is Black culture now? It's all destructive. Yeah. It's all counterproductive. All of it. I don't see nothing good, because even if I say, listen, let's present our issues to both parties, and no, we can't do it. No, but
that's what Ice Cube did.
He said, let's be bipartisan. Paul Anderson said, let's be bipartisan and just present what we want. No, we can't do it because Republicans are racist. And I'm like, but the Democrats are what? Right. Right. We make these statements like Republicans are racist. Okay, so what does that say about Democrats? So I'm just like, with us, even the culture is so watered down to where even when it comes to vote, we don't even have any like, we just voting for somebody that I'm like, just to even somewhat say hi to us or say good morning. Like, right. We just voting for, if it's some kind of, if they just sneeze at us and look at us and say bless you, we gonna vote for them.
Yeah, yeah. When Kamala was on Ricky Smiley's show, and Atomic Dog came out, and she's like, "Oh, that's my jam," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm voting for her." I said, "Wow, I would not want to be one of the women that you choose to be your wives, because you superficial as shit." So this is your life on the line, and you talking about you gonna pick this hoe because she's singing a song?
So let me ask you a question. Do you trust millions of Black people collectively making a decision?
Absolutely not.
I don't trust.
Hell no.
I don't trust millions of Black people making a decision collectively. I don't trust it. No. Because I know it's going to be based in something foolish.
But we're based on emotionalism and symbolism.
All emotion.
So that's a good segue to go into conservatism.
Yes.
Conservatism is something that Black people have come to really dislike, and I don't know why. And I know why. Because they've attached it to something as being wrong. You know,
Racist.
they said, oh, conservatisms are racist.
They racist.
And it is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because the word itself has nothing to do with with racism at all. Conservatism is, according to the dictionary, a commitment to traditional values and ideas.
Yep.
It is holding the political views that favor free enterprise.
Yep.
Private ownership.
Yep.
And traditional ideas. That's what it literally means. Conservatism. It means a commitment to traditional values and ideas. Traditional values and ideas are two-parent household, raising your children right, allowing them to go to the school that you think they should go to, based on, what you want your children to learn. Conservative values are traditional values. Maybe you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, what do you value as a Christian? What does that hold true for you in your life? What are the things that you do in your home? Do you, what are your values? Do you make sure that your kids come in the house, wash their hands, start on their homework, finish, take off their school clothes, start on their homework, finish their homework, then they can go outside and play. Then you come in at a certain time when the lights come on and the street lights come on, whatever, you come in, and then you wash your hands again, and you sit down at the family table, you have dinner. That's family, traditional family values. When your man comes home, he takes off his boots at the door. You say, hey, baby, I got your food in the oven for you. He goes upstairs, he washes his hands, takes a shower, whatever. He sits at the front of the table. He doesn't sit on the side. You serve his plate first. These are values. Traditional values and ideas. Maybe those are not values and ideas, but whatever the hell it is. Conservatism means the conserving, the preserving of your traditions, what you hold value, and the ideology that you have for your life and your family. It is politically favoring entrepreneurship, private ownership, free enterprise, and ideas. That's what conservatism means. And I kept trying to understand why in the hell people don't read. All you gotta do is read. You just read. All you gotta do is go onto Google and read the definition of conservatism. It'll tell you exactly what I just said.
Yes, it will. I looked it up last night.
You steadily trying to tell me something about Democrats, or steadily trying to tell me about liberalism. What are you talking about? Conservatism is 99.9% of Black people's raising in this country. Your grandma was conservative. You couldn't run through your grandma's house. Sit your black ass down. You could not go into her kitchen while she's cooking. That's conservative. Yeah. That's tradition. That's what that means. You couldn't go into her kitchen while she's cooking. You could not be talking on the phone all loud and crazy, all in the middle of the night. You couldn't come into the house whenever you wanted to, stomping in snow and dirt and shit. You had to sleep. If you did sit on the couch in the living room, it had plastic coverings on it. These are traditions.
Yeah.
But the Black people want to tell me they're not conservative. I don't understand it, Blanch.
And it's crazy that you say that, because I say the same thing. I say that the Black culture that we celebrate historically is all conservative. Like all the Black stuff we hold high, that are benchmarks in our Black history. Everything that's Black history for us is all conservative stuff. None of it historically is liberal or democratic stuff. It's all conservative. So I'm like, so the problem I have with voting Democrat is it goes against this. It goes against this kind of stuff. It literally goes against, because think about it. We've been voting Democrat in all these local elections in all these cities. And how is that fair for Black people? Because it goes against our conservative core values. Nobody would argue that our grandparents had it right. Everybody would agree with that, right?
Right.
But technically, our grandparents would be Republicans. If you want to get technical, like our grandparents, if they voted, would line up with Republicans, because of the values of the party. Now, racism and all that stuff is another discussion, but the values of the actual party are conservative, meaning
Right.
America is a republic in itself. The word democracy is not even in the Constitution or Declaration of Independence.
Nowhere.
So that means democracy itself is something foreign to even what the country even is. Matter of fact, they didn't even like democracy because they know what it stood for. And so with Black people, we're actually conservative though, because guess what? We believe in free enterprise. We believe in private ownership.
That's right.
We believe in social traditional ideas. Like, we believe in all of this stuff. We believe in it. But again, manipulation and programming is that Democrats tell us people that believe in these things are racist. And so what we do is we say, oh, because this is a simple formula. I think Red Pill Chase said it. He was like, for example, they say, okay, Republicans racist, right? So that means if Republicans racist, then any Republican idea is racist.
Correct.
Okay. And if anybody relates to that Republican idea, then that person is racist.
Correct.
So if you agree with that person, that makes you racist.
That's where Trump comes in. Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's just that simple. So now you can say Donald Trump is racist. So that means anything he actually says, even if it's good, is considered racist and bad. Correct. Even if it's good.
Correct.
I'm like, for example, how are y'all arguing with jobs being over here in America? How are y'all arguing with manufacturing being over here? I said, it doesn't make Black people are only going to survive in this country through employment. We don't own anything. We don't control anything. We don't have anything besides a job. So why would y'all vote for a party that wants to employ people outside the country? I said, it don't make logical sense.
Nothing. Makes no sense.
I don't get, my mind's, I'm like, just from a practical standpoint, I care about jobs being in America. Y'all just voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and they're promising 11 million jobs to immigrants. Do you know that there's only 40 million to 44 million Black people in America? We're talking about almost a
they just 25, took away
a quarter of jobs. I said,
they
y'all
took away a quarter. They took
away
a quarter, just like that.
And that's on top of us, and that's on top of us already being the most impoverished group. So I said, so again, when y'all marching in the streets, nobody is marching for that. Nobody is marching for nothing economic. We're marching for all the symbolism. I think dude pulled the stat up. Dude was pulling the stats up on police homicides that were of unarmed Black people.
Black people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unarmed. And he was like, the numbers, like you got police homicide, but then there's unarmed.
Right.
So unarmed takes the numbers drastically down because most police homicides involve the person having a weapon. 99%, like 95, 99% of them involve a person having a weapon. So when you say unarmed, it takes the numbers down very, very low.
Oh yeah, it's like 0.00. It's something ridiculous.
It's something ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's something ridiculous. And so I'm telling you, but that's the focal point of you voting. Because think about it, they're getting you with criminal justice reform. That's all they're talking about. And police brutality. They ain't talking about no land. They ain't talking about no economics. They ain't talking about none of that. They talking about literally police brutality, criminal justice reform. That's it.
But they're not talking about it no more.
Oh my, yeah, you're right.
They're not talking about it no more.
Yeah, you're right.
After they did whatever they did, I'm not gonna use the word steal or stole, but after they did whatever they did, they not talking about it no more. I ain't heard them say shit.
Listen, they can get mad at me. I know they cheated. Now, and I'm gonna say this. Listen, there's probably fraud.
They get mad at me. I know they cheated.
They probably committed fraud in a lot of elections, right? They probably did, right?
Yeah.
The only difference is they did it in the open. I said, so you saw it on tape and the news told you what you're looking at is not what you're looking at. And you said, okay. I said, the problem with that is now the powers that be know that we are that stupid. So now they're gonna do stuff like what's happening with the financial market. Oh, we gonna shut it down because y'all making money. You know why they're gonna do it? Because they just saw an election where the people cheated, the people saw it, and they didn't say nothing about it. So guess what? Matter of fact, hold on. You saw the people pulling out ballots under the table, and you just said Trump is racist. So the powers that be know we can easily distract them. We can mess up the whole financial market and just go and blame Trump. And everybody will be like, so what I'm saying, it's all emotional, it's all symbolism, it's all propaganda, it's all foolishness. We are not out in these streets, tearing up these streets for nothing financial or economic. And that's the number one thing we need. We ain't tearing up nothing. We ain't marching for redlining.
No.
We not marching for nothing. And you know what, Megan? One more thing, Megan. Voter suppression. I don't know anybody that can't vote that wants to vote.
Right. Except like a 10-year-old or something. Right.
But Megan, who wants to vote that can't vote? I just don't know.
Maybe people in prison or something.
Okay.
But I bet you the people in prison would be voting against this, against the people that put them in prison.
I guarantee it. I guarantee they wouldn't vote for Biden and Kamala. I guarantee that. I guarantee that. I guarantee that.
You go in there and do it. You go in there and do a survey. You gonna come out with 95% of the votes saying absolutely 110%. Get rid of these hoes. Get rid of them quick.
I guarantee they wouldn't vote for them. I guarantee that. Ain't no way.
Put him in jail. I had a guy. What's his name? MAGA, whatever his name is. Shit, I can't think of his name. He posted this guy in prison. He literally was in prison and had a cell phone or whatever and did a video. And he said, and I retweeted it, I reposted it on my Instagram. And the guy did a video, he's in jail, and you look cute little young black guy. He said, I cannot believe that you about to put the person that put me in jail for 19 years, you about to put her in office. Talking about Kamala.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, and I reposted it. I couldn't believe but this is what it's all, people are so up in arms about symbolism that it's just really hard to even have a conversation. Perfect point is, no, you really can't. Perfect point. They want to keep telling me, now they got Spike Lee. Yo, you did that video and you had Spike Lee talking about what is he on? What was he on, bro?
Did you see him?
Damn.
Did you see him?
His one eye was over here, the other one was over there. He was talking weird and he kept having to stop and shit and mumbling. I said, oh, Spike, bro. Come on.
Spike.
Come on, man. I know you're trying to get a check, but God, dog. I know you just got your little Oscar finally, but you ain't got to just give it all up. Come on. Then they got Tyler Perry, and I thought Tyler Perry was going to mind his business, but I guess he got too much on the line. But he comes out with this damn whole documentary shit about Black people need to take the vaccine first, and Black people are the number one people that get COVID and die from COVID. Let me tell you why you die from COVID first. You four monkeys. The reason why you die from COVID first is because COVID is a virus. It is a virus. And so viruses are not a common cold. It attacks the inside of the cell, not just the outside of the cell.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you are not living a life that produces greater reproduction of healthy cells, when your cell is attacked on the inside, okay, you got the outside, you got the inside. When it's attacked on the inside, you really don't stand a chance because you don't have a replication system within your body that has produced enough stronger cells to attack. I tell you right now, most of us, including me, probably had the virus go through my system. It probably went through, Blanche, it probably went through yours.
Yeah.
But because I drink water, because I exercise, because I take my vitamins, that I'm not saying that I'm not a vegan, I'm not a vegetarian anymore. I do what I want to do, but I try to have a balance, at least a decent balance, so that I can have a production of healthy cells, so that if I get sick, those healthy cells, when a sick cell sends out a signal, like, oh, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, it then calls for healthy cells to come and attach those cells onto this bad cell and either heal it or it'll kill it.
Yeah.
But if your bad cell, the one that's been infected, is sending out signals to other cells, and your damn other cells is just as sick as it, then what will happen is it will call in these other cells. They'll come around, but then it's just gonna be a bunch of bad healthy cells attached to each other, which will then grow into a massive problem within the body.
Yeah.
Black people are dying more from everything. Heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypoglycemia, whatever the shit. All of the shit. So why is it that you're surprised that they dying more from COVID? Give me a break.
Y'all have not gone on one campaign for heart disease. Y'all not going on one campaign for cancer.
You ain't wearing your mask from cancer. You ain't wearing your mask for AIDS. You didn't wear your mask for AIDS.
But y'all got a vaccine.
Somebody doing a campaign, doing a video for AIDS. And we're not going to talk about how many people Tyler Perry knew that died of AIDS.
Oh, he know a lot. He knows a lot. he know a lot.
Brandon said he knows a lot. Let me make sure I enunciate that T on the back of that. He knows a lot.
Megan, I watched that little thing Tyler Perry did.
I ain't watching.
I watched the doctor though.
When the black lady?
Did you hear her explaining that?
I refuse. I won't watch it, Blanche, because you ain't gonna make me more.
You have, but you gotta watch it just to see how she's explaining. How she explaining it. Because I call this the gangster spike protein. And when your homies roll up.
She said what?
Listen. I wish. Listen to me.
You can have the rest of this show. You want to talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. I'm out. She said what? The gangster what? Oh, Blanche, please. Oh, please.
Megan, if you watch that video, you're actually probably going to be disgusted. Because she said, when you call your homies up, and then your homies come, and then they go, and I'm like, she's like, this is what's dope. This is what, like, she talking.
And this is the doctor?
Hold on. But the segue though. So the white doctor says, oh, she can explain it much better than I can. So he throws it off to her.
So they had a white doctor, and then the black doctor comes in and completely niggerfies everything.
They're both sitting there in two chairs. But when it comes to, so Tyler Perry says, so explain to me what actually happens. And keep in mind, they said when you get the vaccine, it's going to just do what it does and then just disappears. And he's like, and it goes where? Or it just disappears. So then...
What, do you boo-boo it out? What kind of stupid shit?
It just disappeared. And then he said, well, if I take it, does it keep me from spreading it? They was like, oh, we don't know. Okay, if I take it, does it keep me from getting it? Oh, well, we don't know. We don't think so. He was like, then they said if you take the first shot, you got a 50% chance of being, I guess, protected. And the second shot takes you to 95%. So you got to have both shots. But basically they said there's no guarantee that you're going to actually not spread it or not get it based on getting the vaccine. And they don't know how long it even lasts. So it could last 4 months. It could last 8 months. It could last a year, but they don't know how long it will even last. So it could be a shot every year, 2 shots every year.
Well, Well, that was the part we haven't gotten down to that part, but the vaccination, quote unquote, is not really a vaccination at all. It's not a vaccine
No.
at all. They're actually putting the just like the flu shot, which I never get. They're putting this particular strand of flu into your system, and then if you die, you die. If you don't die, you don't die. But this is not in any way a quote unquote vaccine. It's not a vaccine at all. And now
Yeah.
they said they got a new strand that's down in did they say it's in the Carolinas that came from Africa?
Well, I know they came from Africa. I know one came from Africa. They got to put Africa in there. So.
Yeah, they got to put it's another Ebola all over again.
Yeah.
It's another Ebola all over again. And it's just crazy that these people are really falling for it. I'm like, wow, you guys are really nuts.
So
like,
she said,
really completely out of your mind if you get your booty to the pole and you got a black woman dancing, booty shaking with booty shorts on, stripping the shit or whatever damn near she was doing at the Washington Capitol to get you to vote.
Listen, but listen to me though, and you want me to believe that with all that, black folks are making the right decision when it comes to voting, and you can't. There's no way you can sell me on that. There's no way.
You cannot.
I'll take it a step further though. I talked to so many black folks that hated Trump, right? Right. But didn't vote. They didn't vote. I said, well, why didn't you vote? I said, the man is so bad. I said, why didn't you vote? Oh, well, because I had to do this. I didn't get our work in time. I said, they had early voting. Well, I had to do this, because, I had so much going on, it's just hard. So I said, wait a minute.
You ain't hate him that much.
You didn't hate him that much.
You didn't hate him enough. You didn't hate him enough.
You didn't hate him enough. I know for a fact, Megan, say I like you. If I got to text you every day, call you every day, come by the house, and you don't respond, clearly you don't want to date me, right? Right. So let's apply it to voting. If I got to text you every day, multiple times a day, if I got to call you every day, if I got to come by the house, then clearly you don't want to vote.
You ain't interested.
Okay, so what makes me believe that I had to do all that and it made you go vote? I got to put balance in your mailbox. I got to call you. I got to text you. I got to come by the house. I do all that. And I still got black folks telling me they didn't vote. So
and you got Stacey Abrams popping up on Versus concerts and shit and all this other kind of stuff. And you gonna sit there and tell me that people just easily went and voted? No. It's a whole bunch of people that still, after all of that work, that example that you just gave was so incredible. After all that work, I still don't want to date your ass.
So the only way
the numbers don't add up.
The only way Stacey Abrams could get people to vote is to literally vote for them.
Right, which is what you said they did with yours.
With mine. Because when I went there, now you got to think about this. When I go and check in, I check in with the black lady on the end. I check in with her. Now she can see on the screen I voted. Because she got the screen. She can see it. So why would you even send me to do, because I know you can see it, because I went back to the screen, y'all saw it. And I hadn't voted. So y'all saw that I voted. She saw me. And guess what? The only one didn't get up to come help me out with all other people was her. She stayed on the end down there looking.
Because she had already seen it.
Because she already saw it. And so the lady told the girl to navigate through the screen, and she deleted my vote. And I got to re-vote again. And I said, y'all can delete votes? It's like, yeah.
Blanch.
That's my own experience. That is my, and I said, but think about it, Megan. In order for a vote to be cast for me, it's impossible because you have to have my ID. You think about it. You have to have my ID to even check in. You got to scan my driver's license to even, you got to scan me. So how do we get past the scanning, get the card, go to the machine, print the paper out, go to the other machine, it say approved, get the sticker and leave? How did all that happen? I never showed up.
That's why when you said they can get mad at me, I know they cheated.
I know they cheated.
You literally went through it.
And you know how I know? Because think about it. I never answered a phone call. I never responded to a text, and I was never home when they came by. So for all they know, I was a registered voter who was more than likely not going to vote.
Right.
So they probably got some kind of algorithm or something they probably put in. If they don't do A, B, C, and D, then you got 99% chance they're not going to vote. Because they know, I looked at my registration card, it said Black, non-Hispanic voter. So they know, they know that Black folks don't vote. And I know that. That's why I said there's no way that Black folks did all that for Joe Biden. There's no way.
There's no way.
Even with Kamala, there's no way. It's no way they did it.
Well, what they're basically saying is that more Black people voted for Joe Biden than voted for Barack Obama, and that's not true.
I don't believe it.
That's not true.
I don't believe it. I don't. Because I know us. And it got to be heavy symbolism. It has to be, even though it was a lot of symbolism and programming, but almost to the point where to break Obama's record, he had to look like me.
Yeah. He got to be black.
He got to be black.
And you got to have a black, white,
black kid. All that.
And one of your kids got to be gay. Like you got to have a lot of symbolism. A lot.
A lot of symbolism.
You had to be a Magic Johnson type situation.
Yes. Yes.
For real. Like people's hatred for Trump, and it just really is so interesting, the hatred that people have for Trump, because Trump over and over and over again has shown his dedication to Black people.
Megan, you can't say that.
Oh. Well, I said it already.
When you say that kind of stuff.
I already said it.
When you say that, when you say that kind of stuff, now you a sellout.
Well, that's all right. We started the conversation with telling you that I'm probably not one of these regular Black people anyway. So that's fine. But Trump has been the honorary Black person for decades. Jesse Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, Puff Diddy,
all of them.
Yeah, all up and down New York, like not just Brooklyn, not just Harlem, not just Manhattan, all up and down New York, Bronx. Everybody hung out with Trump. Everybody, I really wish that Trump would be quote unquote petty and show all the receipts of all the Black people that he's helped in their music career and who he has helped from in New York. If people saw that list and he had receipts, they would be like, damn, you gotta be kidding. Like, why are they talking about you like a dog now? You cannot, something very radical would have to happen in your life to change you from non-racist to racist, or from racist to non-racist. It is not a simple choice.
Yeah.
Racism is not a simple choice. People get racism and prejudice confused.
Yeah.
Prejudice is a choice. Prejudice is, I don't like the way that person looks, or you know, I've had some experiences with people that look like that, and thus I don't like that. Those are called prejudices. I am prejudiced to this person and or this situation or the way they look or whatever, because I have a something that I can attach it to, a simile that I can attach it to and say, this happened to me and it looked like this. So I'm prejudiced. Or my mother didn't like these people, so I don't like these people. I have a prejudice against it. Racism is not that.
Yeah.
racism is a system.
Yeah.
That has been put in place, that has been structured and put in place to run automatically without emotion. Racism is not emotional.
No.
You cannot just change racism because you stand in front of them with a sign talking about stop killing us. That's not racism.
That's not racism. That is not racism.
Yeah. And you're not going to fix it with a sign. You're not going to fix it with breaking into people, burning shit down, breaking into people's businesses, you're not, that's not going to happen. Racism in and of itself is a system that is emotionless. It's like an AI system. It's a robot.
Yes.
That works automatically based on responses from the system. If this happens, then the system does either this or this. If this happens, it's like a branching out. Yeah. The system is not one person. It's not Trump. Even if Trump is prejudiced, his prejudices are not enough to uphold or take away the racist system. Exactly. And people kept trying to say that Trump's racism, which he's not, but let's say he was, Trump's racism is what's holding Black people down. No, Trump's one person. He's not a system. He's one person that if he has prejudices, he may be able to infiltrate and or influence parts of the system, but his racism and or prejudices, well, I should say his prejudices, are in no way going to completely overhaul anything. It's so just not. So my issue with us and the fight against racism is that we try to make it emotional. And so what the media did was the media said, I remember when Trump was campaigning and he asked Black people, what do you have to lose? Right? Right. I remember that. Now everybody said, I thought it was a good question. I thought it was a brilliant question because he asked the question that nobody else asked before. Like, y'all been voting Democratic and it's been a decline in Black America. So what do you have to lose, right? This is what the question was posed. Now, the media told Black people that was racist. You see, the one problem with being Black is we suffer from a lack of context. So when somebody says something to us, we can't contextualize what they're saying because we're looking for the media to explain it to us. And so, for example, they said Trump was racist because he said that he didn't want people on welfare and Section 8 staying in his buildings. So what the media said was he was talking about Black people. The media told you that welfare and Section 8 was Black people, even though there are more white people on Section 8 and welfare. I said what they did was they made that statement he made racist, but guess what? My family had property, right? That they rented out. And they didn't want anybody, my family does have property that they rent out or whatever. They don't want any folks on welfare Section 8 either. Are they racist? You see, so the second statement was, okay, the Central Park 5. They said Trump put out an ad about the young men. Now I said, first of all, I'm thinking about context. I said, you all are not rich. You see, when you're rich and you get upset, you can take ads out of the newspaper. But when you're poor and upset, you go on the street and tear stuff up. I said, so I said, his anger and frustration can be expressed differently, but doesn't mean it's racist because if you remember in the film, because y'all get stuff hindsight, and hindsight's 2020. But remember, the one boy said he did it, and the other boy said they was there. I said, so there was many folks that not only thought the kids did it, but the kid actually admitted that he did it, and the other boy said they was there. So
I said, don't act like Trump was the only one thinking the boys did it when the boy himself admitted he did it, which he probably didn't do. And the other boys said it was there. They probably weren't there either. It was all a lie. But guess what? We're watching a dramatization. We're not watching live current events. We're not watching the stuff play out in live time. I said, we have the benefit to sit back and watch a dramatization. I said, so those two examples don't qualify Trump to be racist. And then the third one, which is the big one, is find people on both sides. And I'm gonna do a video about this. This find people on both sides irritated me because I wasn't even thinking about the video, Megan, about the statement. I made up in my mind a long time ago, there's no way that Donald Trump said that that the neo-Nazis and the KKK and white nationalists were fine people. There's no way he said that. I didn't even watch the video and I said, there's no way he's that dumb, even if he was racist.
Right.
There's no way he's that stupid. I know he might be crazy, but he ain't that stupid.
Right.
So I hear Joe Biden, and I ain't thinking about the video now. Joe Biden says the reason that I decided to run for president was because Donald Trump said find people on both sides. And that, I don't know why that struck me. I said, wait, wow. I said, that's the reason? I said, let me go look at this video. I watched that video and I said,
ain't this about nothing?
I said, the whole thing is a lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
I said, Megan, that's the foundation for Trump being racist. Is that find people on both sides is the foundation for him being racist.
Yeah.
That's the foundation. Find people on both sides. And then you know what's cold? You know what's even colder than that? I just read an article and they actually fact checked it. And you know what the fact check said?
What it said?
He didn't say it. Ain't that cold? Listen, Megan.
Ain't that cold?
All these years later, the fact check even says he didn't say it. I said, boy, they cold. I said, that's cold.
That's cold-blooded. Ain't that cold?
That's cold.
That's cold. That's some, this is your son, pay 18 years of child support, have a bondage with the child. It's father-son day every weekend and all this old kind of old shit and this, that, and the other, and then this hooker knew all along that wasn't your child. That's that kind of shit. That's cold.
That's cold.
That's cold.
I said, so y'all telling me that Joe Biden's reason for running for president is based on a lie.
It's based on a big fat lie. A big
and I'm gonna ask you, Megan, what can I do based on a lie that's gonna turn out good?
Nothing.
Forget being president. What can I do based on a lie that's going to turn out well for me?
Well, math says that negative plus positive equals a negative.
Still, right?
So anything that he did that was positive is going to equal a negative anyway.
Anyway, by default.
The only way he would have been able to make a positive is be a nasty, negative, this horrible person. Then two negatives make a positive.
Yeah.
But he was not going to be able. There was nothing good that he could have done to turn that around because it started off foundationally in something exceptionally negative. And I watched a video a long time ago. I think it was like Super Soul Sunday or something like that. One of Oprah's interviews.
Yeah.
With Joe Biden. And he said flat out, I'm not going to run for president. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to run for president. I just lost my son. My wife got cancer, whatever was going on. And he said he's not going to run. And I never saw anything that could have triggered him to run for president. Like what happened? Because he seemed so convinced that he was not going to run. He was like, no, I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I know people have the right to change their mind. But usually when you change your mind, it's kind of like what I was saying about racism. You cannot change a racist mind. When people are racist, even people whose wife was pulled out of a burning building by a Black person don't stop being racist. It's so ingrained in the very fabric. It cannot, right. They'll say thank you, you know, like thank you for saving my wife or whatever, but it does not change how I feel about Black people as a whole. You just happen to be one good nigga. That's what he thinks. He doesn't care. Racism is not just easily changed. You may be able to change somebody's prejudices by numbers. You know, I think prejudice can be changed by numbers. So if I meet you and you say, you know, let's say if I meet you and I say all men are dogs, and then I meet you and you're like a really good guy, and then your friend, your best friend, is also a really good guy. And then your other friend, so it's about 4 or 5 of y'all. You have your own businesses, you got girlfriends, you got wives, you raise your children, you're very conservative in your views, so forth and so on. Then I can now say that my prejudices have been changed and altered because all men, based on these numbers right here, and based on my current interaction, all men cannot be dogs. It's not possible. Because you are a man and so are your 5 friends. Yes. So prejudice can be changed. But if I have a systematic hatred for men in general, you ain't gonna be able to change that. No. I'll just simply say, okay, Blanchard, you're a good man. Good for you. But you're far few in between. You're an anomaly. You're a diamond. You're an anomaly. You're a diamond in the rough. And so good for you. I think that's great. But you're not going to be able to change just by an experience, even if it's a good experience. And that is what I think what I know the Democratic Party did with making Trump the example of or the symbol for conservatism. Yes. They wanted to take all of, you know, just they took all of it and was like, yeah, what we'll do is we'll just find everything possible that's negative about Donald Trump, even lie, like you said, even lie, just so that we can bottle conservatism. We can just put it in this, you know, bottle it up. Yeah. Say everything in here named Trump is bad. Everything, all of it. It's all bad. Yeah. And then they just passed it around. They just said, you know, here you go. Here you go. Everybody, this is all bad. And it was just painful. It was painful to watch. It really was. It was painful to watch Black people just fall for something that was so obvious. You know, like it was just staring you right in the face. And you know what's crazy? There was a guy, and this is why I talk about when Black people get information, it's usually either coming from a white news source or another Black person. We rarely actually get the information from the source. We always get it secondhand. And so gossip. He said this. What I was. So the problem with our community is it gets told so much that it becomes the truth. And so there was a guy that my cousin is dating, and he was telling me that Trump's father was in the Klan. And then I said, show me. Right. Because I know how to shut Black people down. I just say, just show me. Right. And he goes and gives me an article. He said, here you go right here. So I read the article and I said, did you read it? Blanch, wait a minute. Wait. Did you read it? Like, did you even read it? Did you read it at all? And then guess what he said? He said, no, I didn't read it. I said, well, let me read what it says. It says that Trump's dad was at a parade and got into it with somebody that was racist. Wow. Supposedly. Wow. And then he was like, well, I know his dad was in the Klan because my mentor
he told me that I said, but what you gave me to validate your point was this article.
Right.
And what I notice about Black folks is all they're gonna do is keep moving the cheese.
They keep moving the cheese.
This is why I say it doesn't matter what we fix in America, because Black folks still gotta deal with Black culture. And that's a part of Black culture is being misinformed about something and holding on to it.
That's right.
I had the guy tell me that Trump told the people to go down there and storm the Capitol. And I said, okay, just show me. He said, no, you gonna listen to me first. I said, listen, just show me the video. You say whatever you want to say. No, man, don't worry about the video. I said, listen, man, just show me where he said, and so he plays a clip. He said, listen, Trump says, we're gonna go down there and we're gonna cheer him on. He said, see? I said, what?
Right. Right.
He said, what that mean? I said, what does cheer on mean normally? I said, what do cheer? No, man, that's cold.
Unbelievable. It's like when he said, everybody stand down. Oh, they lost their mind about that one. I was like, well, what's the problem?
Shouldn't you want him to say stand down? Hold on. If there was a group that was going to do something that was going to harm America, should you want the president to tell them to stand down?
Right. I don't understand. I was completely, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand why you're upset about it. He says stand down.
And the funny thing is, and so I was arguing with my cousin about, I said that Joe Biden was the one that said the Proud Boys. I said Joe Biden was the one that brought up, because Trump was asking them, okay, who do you want me to condemn for the 300th time? Who I got to condemn now? Because now it's, and I tell people, what you don't realize is that Trump is conservative, right?
Right.
Like you mentioned, but he's a throwback male. He's the male that's considered toxic now because he doesn't bend, he doesn't break. Right. So you're not going to bully him in a conversation. Meaning,
I said the same. Right.
So meaning, I'm not finna keep entertaining condemning white racism. I did it 100 times.
I already did it.
So that's why he asked them, okay, who do you want me to condemn? And then Joe Biden says, the Proud Boys. Now, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I don't believe that he know who the Proud Boys even are. Because his face was like, I don't believe he knew who they even were. Even his press secretary, she even said he didn't even know who they were.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, the Proud Boys only have at that time, 1,000 national members. Yeah. They're a very small, they're not this large organization.
It's not Hell's Angels.
They're not Hell's Angels. Right. And so I did my research. And so basically, the guy that used to run Vice, just side note, he's the one that started the group. But the group was based on a joke. It was based on a song in Latin called Proud of My Boy, or Proud of Your Boys. So he basically was making a joke to a gay guy who was kind of effeminate, and he said, you need a group to protect you, basically. They might be called the Proud Boys. It was a joke. So the whole thing was a joke.
Wow.
But the guy that runs Vice, they said he was the leader of the group, but technically he wasn't leader of the group because the group was formed on an idea that he created.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? It wasn't actually, it was a joke for him. As a matter of fact, he did an interview. In the interview, he says, they're saying I'm racist and homophobic, but that's impossible because I hang around too many niggers and fags, or something he said. But again, I tell people, he's making it's sarcasm.
Right.
He's basically saying,
satire.
It's satire.
Yeah.
Basically, it's satire. But again, the group was formed on a joke that he created. So the group members actually disowned him because they said he was too, talking too crazy. So they actually disowned him. So the group in itself wasn't about the guy. It was literally about sticking up for America, basically, because they saw what Antifa and Black Lives Matter was doing.
Right.
You notice their number one target is BLM and Antifa. That's really what. So basically, when they show up to the scene, here come the Proud Boys. You don't even see the Proud Boys no other time, but when they show up.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know they existed until this whole thing. I was like, wait, what?
So they used to wear these shirts, these Fred Perry shirts, and then they were like black with gold trim. So that was their signature shirt. So Fred Perry stopped selling the shirt because they were wearing the shirt. Like, it's a lot of stuff that happened with this group. But again, there are so many members in the group that are of other races. And I said, it's almost impossible to be in a meeting and call somebody the N-word and they still want to stay in the group. So the rhetoric of the group can't be racism. And I said, but the rhetoric of the group is conservatism.
That's right.
That's why they say they're not male chauvinists. They say they're Western chauvinists, which is Western culture, Western ideologies, two-parent households. Because I know that the Proud Boys, they probably read BLM's manifesto, what they believe.
Right.
With the
like, oh, hell no.
Thank you. And I keep telling people, black people, y'all don't read.
You don't
so
read.
You're not going to be offended by what you should be offended by because you don't read. Other people read and get offended by stuff you haven't read. Right. I said, so most of this attack, like you say, and I agree 1,000%, it was really an attack on conservatism.
Yeah. Absolutely.
On conservative values, because now I can associate, if Trump is racist and conservative, then that means by default, conservatives are racist.
Yep. Yeah.
And if conservatives are racist, then that means Republicans got to be racist. So that means a black person got to be a sellout if they're Republican or conservative. It just goes on this whole thing, not realizing that it's all BS and propaganda. But the flip side is the Democrats, think about this. We're getting mad at Trump for what they told us he meant by what he said. Joe Biden's actually saying stuff and doing stuff. He says it out his mouth. And we making excuses for him. I said, it's crazy.
Let me think something. Biden says it out of his mouth, no equivocations, no apologies, and he ain't mixing words, he ain't mincing words. Kamala said out of her mouth, we are not doing anything specifically for black people. She said out of her mouth, I am not apologizing, nor do I feel bad for all of the people that I put in jail. Biden said out of his mouth, these are rejects on the street whom we cannot fix. We cannot rehabilitate these people, and we cannot protect our families from these young people who are impoverished, who are low income, he went down this whole list of shit, and he said, there's nothing we can do about these people.
And Megan, and he also said, we created them. He said, even though we created them, we still gotta lock them up. I said, dang. So you mean to tell me, you know you did it, but instead of trying to fix the problem, the solution is to lock them up.
The solution is bye-bye. Can't stay here. You can't stay here. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck out of here. Can't stay here. And that is exactly, and it's, I was trying to, during last year, during election year, I kept saying, you got to be careful when your hatred for something blinds you from being rational. You've got to really be, your hatred should not be that strong. You should not hate anything that much, especially a person.
Yeah.
You should not hate one person so much. That's racism, actually. That you're so blinded by your racist views. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I said racism could not easily be changed.
Yeah.
You should not be the people that cut off another person's penis and hung them in front of their children and all that kind of stuff. That's not easily changed.
No.
That's a hatred that is so strong. Emmett Till, the people that beat him like that, that hatred was so strong, even though they knew that lady was lying. They knew she was lying.
Of course they knew.
But they had to, they were so enraged with hatred that they said, well, somebody's got to pay. So we'll pick you. Somebody's got to pay. And that is what has happened to the Black community. You are so angry that you have thrown rationale and logic completely out of the window. Even Black people cannot get to you. Even an educated Black person cannot sit down and say, listen.
You the worst one. They're not gonna listen. Listen. You? Mm-mm. You know what's crazy?
They always want to cry out Malcolm X, and I'm like, Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King and shit. You wouldn't listen to Marcus Garvey right now. You wouldn't listen to Malcolm X right now. Malcolm X told your ass to stay away from them liberals. He told you to stay away from them liberals 50 years ago, and you still don't listen.
We would have canceled them.
Cancel.
We would have. I said, so there's a family member I have. I got a family member disowned me, right? Listen to me. I got family members. Listen to me out. I got family members that have disowned me because they said that Trump was the most racist president ever, and Joe Biden said it. Joe Biden said it too, and I said, okay, how can Trump be the most racist president ever if we have presidents that actually own slaves? Right? That statement I just said makes perfect sense because clearly, if he owns a slave, he got to be racist, more racist than Trump.
Right.
That response to them got me disowned. Now, it didn't get me disowned because I was lying. It got me disowned because it forced them to look at something a different way. It changed their whole belief system into thinking, you know what? Maybe he ain't the most racist president before. We had president, because literally the person responded with, I don't care if they own slaves, he more racist. I said, you can't get more racist than owning a human being because of I said, but guess what? I got disowned for that. So fast forward, y'all want me to believe that when Black people go to the polls, they know what they're doing. Y'all want me to believe that these Black people are voting and they know what they're doing.
Not possible.
The women, after Biden won the first night, the women went in front of the White House and they was chanting the WAP song.
No, they weren't.
Yeah. It's on video. And then they chanting the WAP song. And I said, wait a minute now. Just a couple of years prior, you got mad because he said he grabbed him by the vagina. So we fast forward, and now you yelling at Trump, we got some wet vagina. I said, but y'all want me to believe that when these people go to the polls, they got it figured out. You want me to believe that these people are making the right decisions when it comes to politics. These people.
Not these people. Not these ones right here we talking about. Not possible.
It's impossible. It is impossible.
110% impossible. You people have no idea what the hell it is that you're doing because you don't read, you don't use logic. Even people in your family and my family who didn't have a formal education have more common sense, rational, logical choice making, where you weigh different options. You know, choices mean you weigh different options. And so that's the other thing that pisses me off. Oh, well, Biden's the lesser of two evils, but he's not. Even if you wanted to say that Trump was evil, Trump is the lesser evil. Then why do you think Trump won? Because he was the lesser evil from Hillary. That's why he won. Nobody wanted to vote Hillary in because nobody wanted a she-devil in the White House. So they didn't vote for her.
And can we be honest, Megan? Everything we're seeing now would have happened 4 years prior.
Oh, guaranteed fact.
Like, all this right we see now. You would have had
COVID, you would have had all kinds.
Come on, man. This would have been 2016. All this stuff would have happened. All this stuff would have happened back then.
Yep. Every last drop. And instead of having 11 million, you would have had 22 million by now. You would have 50 million by now, because what people do not understand is that for every one person that you let into the country and you allow them to be successful, for every one, you might as well count 5.
Yes.
Because from there, they go, which we keep trying to say over and over again, these other communities do for and only for their community.
Thank you.
This is why when Nigerians come to America, they don't marry American women. They marry another Nigerian. They go and get the girl from the village or whatever, bring her over here. She gets a job. She becomes a nurse or a doctor or whatever. He's a nurse, a doctor or whatever, a lawyer or whatever. Then they have these big ass parties and they go fly back over to Nigeria and then they have a party for a month or a week or whatever. They get all this money and shit thrown at them.
Yep.
Come back over here. They're not in any way. They don't change the way they eat. They continue to eat curry goat and jollof rice and jerk chicken and all this other kind of old shit, and the moose and the mas and all that kind of shit. They do not eat collard greens. They do not eat pickled pig feet. They do not change into eating a whole bunch of cornbread. They eat their same shit, that mashed potato shit, with the fingers and the swap up the shit. Nobody's changing. They do whatever it is that they do for their community, and they keep that shit going. So when you decide, ain't no Mexicans changing from eating enchiladas, tostadas, empanadas, and nachos, changing to eating eating fried chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, greens, peach cobbler. They don't do that. They continue to drink their leche. They continue to drink, have their tamales and shit. Nobody. As you said at the beginning of this, these Black people are not a threat. You have gotten real big-headed because somebody told you that you're so important to the cause. The importance that you do have, that Black people do have to the cause, is they're very, very influential.
I agree 1,000%.
They are very, very influential. And Black people, just like you and I are a good example. We're smart. When we're talking, we're grabbing your attention. You're listening to what we're saying. Oh, Megan has a point. Well, you know that Blanch, he has a point. Da, 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 da. All of that works. But in the numbers and in the power, we have you're only 14%, 13. And if they keep going the way it's going with these people killing each other in Chicago, you're going to be 12. So you're 13%, 14 on a good day, percent of the entire human beings in the country of the United States.
Yeah.
But those are the people that we are actually able to count. We're not counting all of the people who are here illegally.
Yes.
But the people who are here illegally are still making money. They still make money and they still are able to drain. That's one of the reasons why I left California. Because when I found out that you can literally come from any country, let's say Mexico, you get there, you don't have to have an identification to get a bank account. And I didn't understand how that was possible. Bank of America said, it doesn't matter who you are, you can come and get a bank account. So I'm like, well, get a bank account how? How? I have to damn near give you blood in order to get a bank account. And I got a certificate and everything else. So you can come over, you can get a bank account. You can also get a driver's license without any formal identification. They allow you to get a driver's license because the Mexican community in California, they were tired of getting profiled. Because what was happening was, because the police knew that you didn't have proper identification, they were able to ticket you and get more money because you have more violations. So if I pull you over, let's say I'm a police officer, you have a pickup truck, and you have a bunch of landscaping equipment on your truck, but it's not bolted down the way it should be properly. So I'm pulling you over because your shit's not bolted down. Well, when I pull you over for that, that's one violation. Then when I go to your car and I ask you for your license, registration, and insurance, and you don't have those three things, now it goes from one violation and a warning to 4 violations that cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Okay.
So what was happening was these Mexicans, I'm just using them as an example, were going to court. They go to court and they end up paying, let's say they pay $300 per violation. 3 times 4 is $700, right? 3 times 4 is, no, $1,200, right? So they pay all this $1,200. They're paying $1,200 for being stopped one time. So what they said was, well, you're taking money out of our community, Mayor Villaraigosa. We as the Mexican community are going to put our money together, and we're going to make sure and demand that you change these laws. So we're okay with being pulled over. We're also okay with you running our license and having insurance or whatever, but you have to make it so that we can get a license. So you could come in from Mexico, go straight to the DMV, get yourself a license, an identification. Once you have the license and identification, even before the license and identification came into play, you could also get welfare. You can get help. You can get food stamps. You can get welfare checks, all that shit, even without being a legal citizen of the United States of America in California.
Now, let me ask you a question, Megan. So is the police pulling them over racist?
Well, they're saying that the example that I gave, no. The example I gave was they were pulling them over because your shit wasn't tied down correctly.
Okay.
That was my example. But I'm not saying that they weren't profiled because what they were saying, what the Mexican community was saying was that you're pulling us over because you know good and damn well we ain't got our shit. But that's not necessarily racist. That's economic.
But guess what though?
I need the $1,200.
But you over here living a better life and you did in Mexico and you don't want to get taxed for it. That's basically what you're saying. You don't want to get taxed for being over here, but you over here for free.
That's correct.
I said, so I talked to Mexicans and they said, if they pay their taxes, the government don't bother them. They said, if we pay our taxes, we good. And I said, again, so again, if a Republican says they're against that, the media is going to say they racist. But I'm like, how is it racist? Because you and I can't go to Mexico and live over there and not get taxed.
You and I can't go to Mexico and live over there, period.
Okay.
And you definitely can't go over there and live over there and start from the ground up and become a millionaire. That's a guaranteed fact. You can go to Mexico right now and live over there if you already have money. Because then you can buy a big ass house with a guard gate and a bunch of pit bulls and massive dogs and all that other kind of shit. But you can't go over there, cross into Tijuana, and start sweeping floors.
Thank you.
You cannot. You cannot. First of all, you definitely cannot go over there if you don't speak Spanish. How in the FUCK are people coming over here to this country and do not speak the language of this country, and they end up with more money than the people whose ancestors built the country? Can you make that make sense to me?
So my question is, why are Black people not protesting and tearing up the streets and these businesses for that reason? If what we saying is true, then why are Black people not frustrated and upset for that fact? Because we're not.
Because the reason why Black people are not frustrated and upset is because symbolism. They really think that combining black and brown and black and yellow and black and all these colors of the damn rainbow, including the LGBTQ XYZ community, they think that it makes Black people stronger. But all it's doing is diluting.
That's it.
It literally, I don't give a damn let's say you have this cup right here, right? And you put a piece of charcoal, like a charcoal tablet in the water. At first, the water's completely black. But put this same cup under a running faucet of just straight water. Eventually, it's going to start turning clearer and clearer and clearer. It will go to like a light gray. Then it'll be kind of cloudy. And then eventually, the water is going to purify the charcoal that was in there, and then it will just be clear water. Period. That's just a fact. And Joe Biden has already said that his suggestion, he said it out of his mouth. He said, my suggestion to the Black community is you better try to link up with Mexicans because the ones that are left. Those are the ones we're willing to do business with. We're not willing to do business with you.
Megan,
He said it out of his own mouth.
Megan, listen, and I'm gonna say it, 2020 is going to go down as the fall of Black America. I said, these white people said, dear Black people, we need you all to save the country. That's what they said. We need you all to get Trump out of office. Megan, I proposed 3 solutions. The first solution was, I said, okay, with this power we have this year, let's withhold the money and let's withhold the vote and give our demands. Black people told me.
That's what Ice Cube said.
Okay, Black people specifically told me, no, we have to vote, kill that thing, kill that. Then I said, okay, well, why don't we say, let's make a deal. If y'all want Trump out of office, give us this and we'll get him out of office.
That's what Black folks said.
Black folks said no, he gotta go, we ain't going with that. I said, okay. So now you're telling me that my original plan, you don't go with. My plan B, you don't go with. So now the plan C is only to just vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and get nothing.
Yeah.
So Joe Biden is giving $4 billion to Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala.
For what?
Because he wants to help their infrastructure so they don't have to migrate to America.
Unbelievable.
He wants to give him $4 billion. And then so I said, okay, so Trump had gave Baltimore District 7 $16 billion in grant money, right? 16 billion. District 7 is 75% Black, right? So Kim Klacik asked, where did the money go, right? But just by her asking the question where the money went, and she's Black and Republican, she's automatically disqualified, even though she's asking a valid question. So she does the math. She says, we could have rehabbed, because there was like 29,000 vacant homes in Baltimore. And I tell people, vacant homes mean poor economy in the city. It means it's poverty. Mm-hmm. She said, we could have rehabbed 109,000 homes. Easily, right? So me and my boy did the math. They could have gave every person in the district $40,000 apiece. Every adult, voting age adult, could have got $40,000 apiece. Wow. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. District 7, Elijah Cummings, when Trump asked him about the money, everybody said that was racist. But the flip side to the question is, but where did the money go? Okay, right. So where did the money go? Black Lives Matter to raise $10 billion.
Where the money go?
And they ain't gave no money to the Black community. But guess what? So Black Lives Matter got 10 billion, but Trump being racist actually trumps Black Lives Matter having the money and not helping the Black people. I said, y'all see what's going on? It's complete.
It's not even funny.
It's like complete brainwashing. It's just complete. I believe we're under a spell, honestly. I believe they cast a spell on us.
Yeah, could be. Could be. I mean, if you think about it scientifically, every sense has been altered. So taste has been altered. They're poisoning you with bad food.
Yeah.
Your sight has been altered. You're watching reality TV, watching, strippers and all the rest of this stuff. Your ears listening to horrific music.
Yes.
That is just painful. Smell, I guess we could go into weed. Weed has just really, this is not, and I keep trying to tell people over and over again, whatever you guys are smoking is not regular weed. That's not regular. No. This is some fabrication that has been created in a laboratory.
Yep, it's synthetic.
It's not from the earth at all. This is some other type of weird shit that is really messing with the physiological development of African Americans, of females and males, but in particularly males. Yeah. They're exceptionally skinny. I mean, like really sickly skinny, like anorexic. Yeah. They're really skinny, really effeminate, exceptionally angry all the time. You know, just and very what's the word I want to use? They just want to have sex. Like they have no attachment to anything pertaining to sex. Everything is up in the air, which is why they began with that whole idea that if you just because you have sex with a man doesn't mean you're gay. And I'm like, what? Who? Yes, it does. Like, what the hell? Who's coming up with this? And they're like, oh, well, no, it doesn't mean you're gay. It just means that men want to have sex. Okay, well, men want to have sex with other men. Like, well, I mean, I don't even know why we can't seem to get past that. But all of the senses are being altered and really, really messed with in a really kind of weird way. You know, it's strange.
Yeah, and I think, and that's why I talk about Black culture, what Black culture has become. And at this point, we can't really be trusted to make any good decisions. Like, I just don't see, we can't. Like, I'm just thinking, like, what do we do in mass numbers that's good? What do we think about it?
Nothing.
Ice Cube literally said, I'm going to whoever wants to help my people. So he's speaking for us. Now, some folks can say, well, he's a rapper and he caused some of the problems. That's true. And they can say, well, he not qualified. That's true. But the people he got with to actually come up with the document were qualified. So he actually went to qualified people.
That's right.
But his presentation, though, was shot down simply because he met with Trump's team. Yeah. And I said, yeah, but they gave him $500 billion. I said, I'm trying to figure, I said, what do y'all want me? I said, the Democrats tell him, meet with us after the election, and they still ain't met with him. Have they met with him?
No, they won't answer phone calls.
Okay.
That's what they said.
Okay, so I got two things on the table. I got Trump's team giving them $500 billion, and I got the Democrats saying, no. The Democrats are going to get 90+% of Black votes. The Republicans are not. So when Ice Cube goes to Donald Trump's team, he's not offering anything. He can't offer Black vote. Like, what is he? He can't offer him nothing.
Right.
I said, so
you gonna offer 10% of 13% minus all the people in jail.
Okay, so exactly, he's not offering him nothing. So what incentive is it there for them to give them $500 billion? Like, what's the incentive?
Yeah,
there's no incentive, but there's more of an incentive for Joe Biden and them to do it because they could possibly get 100% of the Black votes.
Right.
My point is, what you're talking about, the total dumbing down of Black people is a design, though, because the goal of the end of it all is for Black folks to be completely dependent upon the system, because eventually the country's going to be all Democratic, all liberal. Yeah. And I said, and when that happens, Black folks are going to be in a servitude, underclass, almost slavery type position. We're not going to, because we're going to be so dependent on the system, it's not even going to be funny.
Right. Well, you're going to have to do what you're told. You're going to have to do what you're told. And you know, whatever you're told is what you're told. If they say get the vaccine, get the vaccine. If they say pick this cotton, pick this cotton. If they say work at the Amazon store, you work at the Amazon store. Whatever they tell you to do, then that's what you have to do. You know, because you cannot feed your family, so forth and so on. But if you had let Donald Trump give you that $500 billion, you stupid four monkeys, then you would have had plenty of money. You would have had plenty of money for generations and generations to come. But see, the problem is that conservatism requires accountability, and it requires you to do some work.
Yes.
Liberalism does not. You can be liberal and go and get tattoos up and down your face, all up underneath your underarm. You can go and get holes put in earrings all over your mouth, all in your face.
Yeah.
This and the other. You can have dreadlocks that you never comb, you never wash, you never whatever, and you can continue to get a check. And if somebody doesn't want to give you a check, or somebody doesn't want to hire you to work at their Pizza Hut or their Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, then you can scream racism.
Yes.
Even though I'm telling you, well, I run a restaurant and I don't want your dirty ass or dirty looking ass, even if you're not dirty, but you look dirty. You look dirty. And I don't want it here in my store. This is not the example that I have. I have in my business plan, I have certain uniforms that need to be worn and certain hair that is and is not acceptable in my, I don't want people with tattoos in my freaking restaurant on their face. I just don't. It's my store. I have a right to pick and choose with whom I want to hire.
You know what?
That's free enterprise. But see, they want that because they want to be able to get a check, and a $500 check a month or whatever it is, they get $500. They spend $250 of it on weed, and then they spend the other on some more tattoos on their face, and then maybe some Air Jordans or whatever. And as long as they continue to get that check, then there's nothing really that they have to do outside of what they're doing. They don't have to do anything. They're going to continue to check. And then what they want to say is, well, this country owes me. It owes me this because my ancestors were slaves. Well, you don't have no facts. You don't have no proof that your ancestors were slaves. That's the first thing. You
actually don't.
You don't have any proof.
You have no proof. You actually literally have no proof.
You have no proof of that. You are a 21-year-old, 15-year-old, even 30-year-old. You have no proof. Most of you don't even know who your daddy is. So you have absolutely no proof that your ancestors were slaves. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have no proof. You have absolutely no proof that anyone owes you anything because you don't have any proof of any work done and or any agreements made with your particular ancestors. You have no proof of that.
What did they build? What did they build?
What did they build? What did they do? What did they contribute? You have to be able to prove. You cannot, and that's the whole thing. They just say, oh, well, all Black people deserve reparations. Well, that's not necessarily true. And you're going to be mad as shit if they say, okay, we'll give you reparations based on these particular parameters. If you can prove this, that, and the third, if you
lineage through your mother.
Say, oh, well, we can't prove it because the white people took away the whatever. Well, how is it that I know my lineage and you don't know yours? I'm Black.
And he go what's crazy.
Makes sense.
Listen, I looked at the numbers, and it's basically the top 10% of Black people own the majority of Black wealth, right? The bottom 10% of Black people are in the criminal justice system, prison, whatever, jail, whatever, probation, parole. So you got the top 10% with most of the money, the bottom 10% basically a slave to the system. So that leaves 80%, right?
Right.
That 80% is impoverished because the top 10% got the money, the bottom 10% is dealing with all the criminal stuff. So that 80% that's working is really the backbone of America, of Black America, is that 80%.
Right.
The problem is that 80% has to be employed because that 80% largely doesn't have businesses or homes. They just working class people. So I looked at all three plans. I looked at the Platinum Plan, the Lift Every Voice and Sing Plan, and the plan for Black America. Out of all three plans I examined, Donald Trump's plan specifically said two things that I thought was key. Three things. The first thing was 3 million jobs for Black people. And then 500,000 small businesses or businesses. And then the third thing was adding Ice Cube's plan for Black America with the 500 billion. So those were the three things that Trump had in his plan. Now I know most folks didn't read any of the plans, but I know that Black people are only going to be able to survive in America through jobs. That is, there's no other, all the other rhetoric is no, it's only through jobs. That is it. It's not, all other stuff's make believe. If Black folks don't have jobs, it is a wrap.
Period.
It's a wrap. We don't own, produce, the housing, the last housing crisis decimated Black home ownership. We don't, it's over. So anything we're doing politically has to be centered around jobs in America.
Period.
So when Joe Biden tells Black people that you better get with the Hispanics, what he's really saying is you're going to have to compete with them, because
period,
you're not going to be able to compete when you competing with, basically you better make deals with them. You better go to them and ask them for the contract.
For a job. That's right.
For a job. And so I tell people, sometimes you can cut off your nose to spite your face.
Spite your face. That's right.
And I said, and what happened was we allowed media manipulation to make us make an emotional decision and not a business decision. I keep telling people, you can't vote almost 100% Democratic and then expect Republicans to do something for you. That don't make any sense.
Zero.
I said, we don't vote Republican. I said, so why do y'all vote Democratic but then get mad at Republicans? I said, it's ridiculous. I said, it don't make sense. I said, all we got to do is go to each party and say, here are our list of demands. But you know what I found out this past year, Megan? We don't want anything.
I told you when we started, one of my videos that went viral, I asked the question, what do you want?
We don't want anything. We don't want anything. We want anything. We want to complain. We want to march. We want to tear. We want to protest. But we don't actually want anything.
All we want to do is talk shit.
That's it.
That's all we want to do. We want to talk
That's shit. All. So
we want to be able to blame everything on somebody else, and we want to talk shit and tell you we'll kick your ass, motherfucker. I'll kick your ass. I didn't. Yeah, say something. We don't want to do anything. We don't want to do anything. We
don't want nothing. And I said, so this past year, I said, I don't want to hear nothing about racism no more. I don't. I'm tired of it. Because I know at the core of everything, y'all don't want nothing.
You don't really want nothing.
You don't want nothing. You don't want nothing. You don't want nothing. You don't
want nothing. And you running around here talking about somebody that did something to you or something. You don't want shit. You have had plenty of opportunities to come to the table and say, these are a list of our demands. I have said it over and over again. I'm so sick and tired of talking about it. I said, if you want the police to change the way in which they do something, it's called police reform. That's what it's called. But you do not go up to a system and say, I want you to change. That's not how it works. You have to go up to the system with a list of demands and plans on how to get it. Not only plans on how to get it, plans on who's going to implement it and how you are going to measure that the plan worked. And if it did not work, you need another set of plans on how to implement changes, what has worked, what has not worked, You cannot just go up to a system and say, I want you guys to stop. I want you to change and I want you to stop. They're going to look at you like you're absolutely off your rocker, which you are, and say, go somewhere and sit down with that bullshit. If you don't want to take out the time like Ice Cube did to come up with an actual legit plan with people with doctor degrees and all kind of shit and come up with something to the table, then we can negotiate. He went to Trump and negotiated $500 billion. Trump asked Lightfoot in 2020 or 2019, I believe it was early part of 2020, he said, I gave you $100 and something million for your crime over there in South Side of Chicago. Where's the money? And she never responded. At least not that I know of.
See, and this is my issue. At the core of all of this, and this is why the Democrats are so dangerous, because the Democrats believe in that mob rule, majority rule. So they try to get the consensus by people buying into it. None of it is actually right. It's just we got people that agree with it. It's all this. The majority is going to determine the outcome. But I'm like, but what if the majority is not good though? This is what I keep talking about. What do Black people do in mass numbers that's good? Now, when he asked Mayor Lightfoot about the money, specifically for Southside Chicago with the crime, she doesn't answer him because a part of being Democrat and Black Democrat is that you are never held accountable. And so if Trump holds her accountable, he's racist. If I hold her accountable, I'm a sellout. So again, there's no way to hold Black people accountable. It's impossible.
How you gonna get the answers? How you gonna get the answers?
It's impossible. Listen, the crime was listed. They had all them shootings in Chicago. The mayor goes in the middle of the night and takes down the statue of Christopher Columbus. I said, what the
hell is that gonna do?
What is that?
They taking ancient mima off the syrup jar. Then they gonna put Harriet Tubman or whoever it is, they gonna put on a $20 bill. A bunch of $20 bills, it ain't gonna be worth a goddamn, money ain't gonna be worth nothing. And if money is worth something, you ain't gonna get your hand on the $20 bill. How you gonna get a hand on it?
So I keep hearing people tell me, this is the whole thing. Trump had the country divided, right?
Right.
This is the thing.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. My question is, when was America united?
Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. That's a good question.
So if Trump says make America great again is racist, right? They say it's racist. But when Joe Biden and Kamala say this is not America, then what America are they referring to? Because they're referring to a better America, right? So which one are they referring to?
Which one? The one, the pink and cotton one, or the Jim Crow one?
Which America y'all talking about?
The civil rights one, or the Reagan one?
The crack era, like which America are y'all talking about?
The crack era, or the Katrina time?
Which America is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris talking about? Which one?
Which one?
If Trump's version is racist, then what is their version? And I keep asking these questions because they played a dirty game on Black people. They know we emotional and they know we don't read.
They know that.
They know it. And so
who was it that said it? Was it Farrakhan? Somebody said if you want Black people, if you don't want Black people to see it, put it in a book. And if you want Black people to see it, put it between two pieces of bread and call it fried chicken. Was it Farrakhan that said that? Somebody said that. Like somebody, I don't know if it was Malcolm X. Somebody actually said that shit. I was like, damn.
Goodness. But guess what though? When the chicken sandwich came out, how did we act?
Oh, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I said, these niggas is really standing outside, for hours, for a chicken sandwich?
But also, hold up, the killings that happened.
Over the counter, fighting people.
The fighting.
Out of their car, through the drive-through, grabbing at people. I said, oh my God. That's what I do. It's something in the water, something in the food.
So, but you want me to believe that the same people that was fighting and waiting in line for a chicken sandwich are the same people that go to the polls and go make a good decision.
I know what they're doing.
You can't sell me on that. I'm sorry.
You cannot sell me on that. I'm sorry. You can't sell me on that. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. And again, you're only 13%, not including the people that are in jail. So make it make sense. The numbers are not adding up. They're not adding up. Blanch, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here, but your screen froze. I'm still here though. Now you're back.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, the numbers are not making up. They're not adding up.
And so I had just recently posted a video of something that Marjorie Taylor Greene said. And she said, basically, it's not white people holding black men back, it's gangs, lack of education, and selling drugs.
I saw that. Oh yeah, right? They try to hang her. They try to hang that lady.
So my issue with what she said was, it wasn't what she said, it was a response to what she said. Everybody knows that gangs have terrorized the black community for generations.
And are doing it now.
And are doing it now, right? Okay.
Right now, today. Somebody, okay. I just got an alert on my phone. Somebody just got shot over at the McDonald's.
Okay. Everybody knows that in our black culture, it is acceptable to not perform well in school.
That is correct.
All these rappers talk about how they had to drop out and sell dope. So the culture we've created around education, it is acceptable for us not to go to school or even excel in school. Fact. Because guess what? We have a built-in excuse. It's the system.
Correct.
Third thing is selling drugs.
Schools are not for us.
All that.
They're already behind.
Third thing is selling drugs. Drugs have decimated black community. Right?
That's correct.
Now, everybody wants to talk about what caused these problems, right?
Yeah, they said the FBI dropped the drugs down in the community and the CIA.
The government, okay. So my question is, if it's always going to be an excuse of which came first, the chicken or the egg, then how are we going to ever progress as a people? If I can always say, well, this came from that, how are we ever going to progress? Because it's always an excuse. There's never nobody just saying, listen, killing is wrong.
So don't do it.
One of the rappers that got killed in Chicago, I watched a video where he said, this stuff is stupid. He said, we killing each other, it's dumb. He said that he ended up getting killed. But he's saying it's stupid. I think
it was rapper King, whatever.
No, not even him, because he ain't said it. I think his name was FB Duck or something. FB Duck said it.
I have no idea.
But FB Duck basically said, all this stuff is stupid. It's senseless. We're doing it, it's dumb. Like he realized how dumb it was, but he ended up getting killed. But my point is, so we have black people that have all this wealth of knowledge. All these black folks know that the killing is wrong, that we know the gangs are wrong, we know we should stay in school, we know we should sell dope. If you do a poll and ask the average black person, are these things wrong? They're going to say yes. So that means that black people have the wherewithal to know right from wrong.
That's correct.
Okay. So at that point, once you know right from wrong, now it's your responsibility to do what is right.
That's right.
Okay. So now we're down to personal choice.
That's right.
So once you say, I know I shouldn't be selling drugs, but it ain't the system no more. Once you say, I know I should stay in school, but that ain't the system.
That's right.
Once you say, I know I shouldn't be in the gang because gangs it is, but it ain't the system. Because you're letting me know that you know better. And my issue is, like I said before, the problem is you can't hold black people accountable because the Democrats tell black people, because what you're going through is not your fault.
Right.
No matter what you do, whether it's abortion, whether it's the single parent household, whether it's the drug, whether it's the crime, none of that stuff's your fault.
Right.
The Republicans say, no, it is your fault.
Right.
The Democrats say they're only saying that because they're racist. Right. So now we've associated accountability itself with racism.
That's right. That's right. And see, this is what you're saying is so important because it's just like, so what has happened to the African American community, the Black community, the Black ethnic community, is they've all reduced to childhood. They're children.
Yes. Yes.
They're children. So in their thought process, because they're not critically thinking like adults, they're thinking like children.
Yes.
They are running to the parent that gives them what they want.
Yes.
So if I'm the mama and you're the daddy, and I say no, you are going to do your schoolwork. You cannot go outside. You have to do your schoolwork, and then you can go outside after we've checked it, so on and so on. Then they go over to you and they say, Daddy, mommy is just being a tyrant.
Yeah.
I'm a child. I have to go outside. I need to grow. I need to have good memories. I cannot just do my schoolwork all the time. Mommy is just absolutely out of control. And you say, well, I know mommy's really strict. She was raised really strict, and how mommy's really big on books or whatever. You can go ahead and just go outside and I'll discuss it with mommy. Well, if that continues to happen, the child won't ever come to me for anything ever again. They'll just go to daddy because daddy's going to let them do whatever it is that they want to do, however they want to do it, and then have some kind of excuse as to why mommy's being strict. When it has nothing really to do with that, but children don't have to think like adults because they're not yet adults. The problem is that these adults are not developing. They're not developing psychologically. They are not developing in their brains because they're not being rational by saying, okay, I have to do my schoolwork first. Mommy's not saying I cannot go outside at all. She's just saying, do your homework first. Let's check it, and then you can go outside. I don't have any problem with you going outside. You just can't go outside before you do your schoolwork. Because by the time you come back in, you're going to be tired. You're not going to want it. It's going to be dinner time, so on and so on. I shouldn't have to explain all that to you. But that's okay if I do. But I'm just saying to you, yes, I want you to have these different things that you want, but you cannot have them without being responsible and accountable for the shit that we said that you were going to do when you got home. Black people, Black ethnic people, whatever this culture that we have developed,
it's a culture.
Not care about anything. They don't want any responsibilities for anything. They don't want any responsibilities for their grandmother, for their mother, for their aunties, their uncles, their daddy. They don't want to be responsible for school. They don't want to be responsible for their hygiene. They don't want to be responsible for money. They don't want to be responsible for the making of money. They don't want to be responsible for their energy, their vibration, their frequency. They don't want to be responsible for their relationship with God. They don't want to be responsible for their relationship with this earth. They throw trash outside. They don't want to be responsible to each other. They are not responsible to their friendships. They screw each other. They screw each other physically. They screw each other behind their backs. They kill each other. They don't want any accountability for absolutely anything. They want to be able to say anything that they want to say. They can say anything on the internet. They'll say it to your face. They say nothing. And then when somebody says something to them, they say, well, you're racist and you can't talk to me like that.
You're racist.
And I'm like, what do you mean what do you mean these people are racist? You sound crazy. I remember seeing a video last year, or maybe the year before. No, I think it was last year. It was two white people in Arizona coming out of the mall, and a group of African American young people. It was like 20 of them. They jumped these people. They jumped them for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason was. They were trying to leave the mall, and these teenagers jumped them. Like, I saw the video. They were beating on them and kicking them and yelling and screaming and da-da-da-da. And then, of course, the police pulled up, and then all of them scattered. They all just ran.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, I think it was something like they were stealing or something. And the white lady was like, you really shouldn't be doing that. And then they were just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. You don't tell us what to do. Da, da, da. And they just jumped her and her husband. And this whole idea of, oh yeah, that's what they get. That's because that's where Black culture is now.
Yeah.
Anything bad that happens to white people, they say that's what they get. And I'm like, wow, that's really incredible, because that's what white people, KKK people, white supremacists and stuff like that, that's what they say about black people.
Yeah. Say the
Anything
same
that happens
thing.
to somebody black, they say that's what you get because
Yep. Yep. Say the
you're just
same thing.
simply black, and so that's what you get. You're a woman, that's what you get. You're a man, that's what you get. This blanket disgust for humanity is very dangerous, because that's what we're now doing to each other. We did it not. That's what you get if you're a white person, and it's 110% that's what you get if you're a black person. Because
Yeah.
I have never in my life seen this much black on black violence. I've never seen it, not like this. Not like this. It's every day, all day long. It's every day, all day. It won't, and I'm like, why won't they stop? Why won't they stop? But again, the question was posed. You've gotten all this money to fight crime in your community. Why aren't you doing anything about it? But again, nobody has to answer to anything, because especially if they're black. And the dangers, and I hate to even say this, I feel so awful having to say this, but this happens to be the truth. It has now become dangerous to have black people in office, because they're not doing the right thing.
They're going to perpetuate what. So I told people it's not a coincidence that under Keisha Lance Bottoms' leadership down in Atlanta, the city has gotten progressively more violent and worse. Where it's more killings. Homicide was up 55% last year. Carjackings are up, and like all the violent crimes are up. And I said it's not coincidence. I said because the problem is when you have black leadership in black cities, you can't hold black people accountable. So that means you can't address real issues. And it doesn't matter if it's a white person, it doesn't matter the race of the person, you can't hold black people accountable because that's not a part of black culture. Black culture is about not being held accountable. Everything you said, living reckless, and I tell people, the average black person is working, right?
Yeah.
But the average black person doesn't vote. So that means the average black person just living and letting decisions being made without their consent.
Without their consent.
So the average black person, is just existing. That means the average black person is going to get the brunt of what the other people that do all this politics stuff is going to do in politics. That means they don't get the brunt of black leadership decision, black folks that vote. The average black person is going to suffer the most because the average black person don't vote. They're just working and going home and take care of their family. The problem with that is that average black person gonna keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, just like your water example. Because what happens is the ideology keeps spreading, meaning I don't have to be accountable. So now when I go to work, the one thing I hate is I was talking to a guy at the gym and two young men, and we're talking about the storming the Capitol. And so the guy's telling me that it was all they had a noose there. And I said, you do know that the noose was a punishment for treason, for high treason.
That's right.
I said, he was like, are you serious? I said, yes. He said, hanging is for black people. I said, you do know that hanging is a form of punishment for people around the, I said, it's a form of punishment. No, it's not, man, just for black. Okay, I said, okay, you got it. So then two white guys hear me talking to him and they come over and they're telling him about the Capitol. They say, listen, we don't support the Capitol being, vandalized. We understand what the reason was. So anyway, they're talking. So I hear the black guy, we go outside, the black guy's telling them, man, y'all are white. Y'all got privilege. Y'all can do what I can't do. Y'all talking rape. Like he just so passionate. And the white people telling the white people like, listen, man, we're not racist. He's like, they're like, I don't have a problem with you. Man, yes, you do. Because and they telling him, listen, I don't have a problem with you. And this is why I keep telling black people, the average white person ain't even thinking about you. Meaning they're living their great life. Think about it. Why would the average white person, if I have a good life, why would I torment my dream life to think about you? thinking about crime, thinking about poverty, thinking about
Right.
oppression. Why would I even burden myself with the task?
Right.
Why?
For what?
Just like you and I, right? We're not thinking every day about kids starving in other countries, are we?
No, we are not.
We're not. So what makes you think white people are living their good life, so y'all say the best life, and they just thinking about you in any kind of capacity? So the guys outside of the gym, he just, and finally the guy said, listen, man, listen. He said, I grew up in a small town in Georgia. And he said, the town is so small, it's really pretty much half black, half white. It's a small town. He was like, we all intermingled. He said, I've never seen nothing racial happen, racist. He said, I just haven't seen it. He said, I know it's out there. I know it exists. He said, but I don't have a problem with black people. And the other guy said, listen, man, I don't have a problem. He said, listen, I'm not looking at you just a black man. He said, I'm not. He said, I see you black. I'm not just making it about you being black. So finally, the black guy, guess what he ended up doing? Giving them a hug. And I said, Megan, that's all y'all want.
That's all you want. Just come give me some sugar.
That's all y'all want is for these white is to say it's okay, give me a hug. That's all y'all want. I saw it with my own eyes. He went from telling they was racist to giving them a hug. I said, I'll be damned.
Imagine, I know you was like, what the hell? Oh God, I have said, when black folk were standing outside marching and kneeling down on the ground, stop killing us. Please stop killing. I need you to see me. I need you to see me. I was like, please get up off the ground.
Please, because I do see you. I do, and it's embarrassing.
See you on the ground.
I do see you.
Off the ground. You know you like put your hand over your head. Get up off the ground and shut up. You low life, low self-esteem, low confidence having, get your ass. I ain't gonna beg nobody not to get. What kind of stupid? Get up, go home, and do some self-reflection quickly. Do it quick, because you cannot tell a lion not to eat you. This is dumb. Either you're going to have to become a lion and fight for the territory, or you're going to be a lamb that's constantly being chased. But you are not going to change the natural order of things. If you are a lamb and you are not willing to beef up, to fight, to prepare, it's just like if you get into a boxing ring, if you have not done your due diligence, it's not just natural talent. Everybody knows that Mike Tyson naturally is a good boxer, but Mike Tyson had to work and work and work. He was constantly in the gym. He had to understand his movements. He had to understand the 1-2s and the snaps and the this and all this other drills and all this other shit that white man taught him. You cannot just go based on your natural God-given talent all the damn time. You have to, if you want to be a person that is respected and a person that has a seat at the table, you have to earn that right. Nobody is going to just give it to you.
Yes.
And you're a lamb sitting at the, I wouldn't even want to be a lamb sitting at the table with tigers. I wouldn't even want to be there.
Because you're going to be lamb chops, right? Pretty soon. You're
going to be lamb chops. I would rather get my shit together so that when I come to the table, I should be at that table. I just got some alerts on my phone just now. A man was outside shoveling. This is just now happening. Man is outside shoveling around his parking area, and somebody came up and hit him in the back of the head and stole his shovel. That just happened. It literally just happened 10 minutes ago. Then an armed man at the McDonald's. They done went into the McDonald's. Gunshots heard. A shooting. This was 8 hours ago. This is, I mean, this is 17 hours ago. Armed robbery, reports of a structure fire, shooting. This is still one day. This is all one day. Another shooting. This is all going on. Then somebody said on here that they're slashing tires. They're slashing tires in the parking spots over off of 77. Do you think these are white people doing this?
No, I know who it is. I can tell by what's going on who it is. I know who it is. And again,
black on black crime.
We don't. But again, here goes my issue. You can't even say that.
Can't even
so
say
now
it.
So think about it. If I can't even say the phrase, I can't even talk about the problem.
Can't fix it.
Like how I'm gonna talk about divorce, but I can't say divorce.
Right.
Like that's literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, so right. That's where we are though. You can't say black. You gotta say, well, crime that happened. And so what the Democrats do is they just say gun control.
Right. Oh, I was going to get,
They don't get specific about who's committed. I know statistically, I'm gonna give you a few stats. The number 2 cause of death for black women ages 1 through 19 is homicide, right? Wow. Who's killing them? Who's killing them? Wow. Black men. The number 1 cause of death for black men ages 1 through 44 is homicide. 1 through 44, homicide.
Wow.
The number 1 cause of death for white men ages 1 through 44 is accidental death. So what they'll tell you is white people kill each other too. Here goes my problem with that.
Not at that rate.
We are 13% of the population. How many of that is men?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say it's 6%, right?
Right.
So you got 6% of the men in the black community, 6% of the country, accounting for 50% of the homicides. I said, you can't even compare the numbers. So when the police see you in the street on the ground talking about see me, they think you're crazy because they have the numbers. They have the actual numbers. They know that, just like in Philly, when the boy got shot with the knife.
Tamar? You know, no.
The little said, okay, they say he's mentally ill.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can't remember.
With the knife. Mm-hmm. He was the second police homicide of the year. And he had a weapon.
Right.
Charging the police.
Right. Which goes to the point that you made earlier. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we protested and tore up the streets behind him.
That's right.
But it was over 100-something children, ages 2 to 12, they got killed or badly injured due to gun violence. Same city. Not one march. Not one protest. Not one mention.
Not one.
And I go back to what I said. The issue is you can't hold black people accountable because black culture is not about accountability. It's what you said earlier. I don't have to care about anything. Then the Democrats come along and say, because you're this way, it's because of police brutality and the criminal justice system. Meanwhile, the majority of black folks who just go to work and do what they're supposed to do ain't even voting, ain't even concerned with it. But yet, they finna get the most hit by it because when Democrats get in office, they're taking your jobs away. Yeah. Your jobs are going away. So now we got this whole cycle going on with this whole thing and nothing's getting accomplished. And at the end of all the smoke, nobody wants to just say that the problem in Black America is Black culture because it's destructive.
It's destructive. When you got people, I mean, we had, it's probably about 2 feet of snow outside right now. Like for real, it's probably about 2 feet of snow outside right now. And when you have people knocking people over the head while they're trying to shovel the snow and stealing their shovel, you got bigger problems. You got way bigger problems than racism. Your problems are so big. Your racism is so far down the road, you can't even see it. But then they'll say, oh, well, the reason why we steal from each other, the reason why we kill each other is because of the proximity. If you say that to me, if one more person says that shit to me, I'm gonna throw up. This has nothing to do with proximity. This has everything to do with your culture, because white people live around white people, and the number one cause of death for white men is accidental death. Black people live around black people, and the number one cause of death is homicide by other black people. You cannot continue to say, oh, well, this is a dumb thing to say because Mexicans kill more Mexicans. Okay, I'm sure they do.
No, they don't.
But Mexican homicide, Mexican on Mexican murders and homicide and criminality is not the number one cause of their deaths.
It's not. It's not. It's accidental death. It's not.
It's not the number one cause. So if black on black crime is the number one cause of death, is the number one cause of suffering, then we cannot continue to ignore it. You just can't. Like you said, how can I talk about divorce if you won't let me mention the word divorce?
So everybody knows these gangs are increasing the murder rate. Everybody knows this. But when the white woman says it, it's the gangs, y'all say she racist. And then when I say the gangs, you tell me it's the system.
Right.
I'm a come on. I'm like, so what y'all basically saying is you can't hold black people accountable. That's the issue. Nobody wants to address it. And then the Democrats tell you it's not your fault.
Yeah. Well,
Think about it.
It's the same thing with the LGBT. Well, I'm not gonna. It's the same thing with the trans community. You cannot hold trans community responsible for anything. No. If a man tells you that he is a female and he looks like one, well, he looks enough like one, and has sex with you, and then records it, videotapes it, whatever, and tries to blackmail you and tell you he gonna go to your wife and he gonna go to your church and he gonna do this and the other and let them know unless you give him money. And then a man goes and kills him, chops him up, kills him, beats him to death, shoots him, whatever he does. Then the trans community comes out and says, stop killing us. And all I want to say is stop lying. Stop lying. Stop telling people that you're an actual female when you're not. And stop recording people and trying to blackmail them. Just stop. Just stop. That's just regular behavior from any gender. Don't blackmail people and don't lie. Don't tell somebody that you're a man and you're not.
And
I mean, that's just regular shit.
And let's be real too. Who's to say that the transgender person that got killed wasn't selling drugs? Right. Didn't rob somebody? Right. Didn't kill somebody themselves? Like, who's to say? See, the problem I have, and it's one of my issues with the whole LGBTQ thing, is that it's never an issue where they ever at fault. I remember on 60 Minutes, they showed a series, or not series, but they had a show, and they showed 4 videos. And they said, this is the violence they had towards gay people. And they showed like 4 different scenarios. So I actually went and watched the complete videos. And in every video, the gay person either initiated it with words or throwing a drink in somebody's face, or initiated it physically. And I said, the problem with that is you're creating a narrative of no accountability. Because what you're saying is, if a trans person gets killed, it's because they're trans, not because of what they did. And if a gay person gets attacked, it's because they're gay, not because of what they did. But then when it comes to black on black homicide, nobody ever says it's
Blanch,
because they're black.
I think we're losing signal.
Oh, you froze, yeah.
You're frozen. Damn.
You're frozen too. Let me see.
Can you still see me?
I can see you, but you're not moving. Can you still hear me?